Yo, how's it going, folks? Welcome to episode 170 of the Simpa Life. Hope you're keeping well. Hope you've had a wonderful week. Yeah, we've seen sunshine. Well, I've seen sunshine in the northeast, so I'm guessing people other places have maybe seen sunshine. That's probably the worst way to start this, but you guys know me. I love to complain about the fucking weather, and I've been back, I think, 3 episodes now, and I haven't complained about the weather yet. And I'm not even complaining. I'm actually being joyous because I've seen sunshine. It's getting warmer. It's getting brighter. Spring is but only... Oh, I can't figure out what day this is going to be released. It's maybe 2 weeks away by the time this is released. So yeah, very soon you may very well be listening to this in, better seasons, better weather, a bit brighter, a bit lighter, days longer. There is hope, people. There is hope. Anyway, yeah, we're going to jump into today's guest because I haven't got much news because I'm filming these in a weird order, folks. So it's not really been a week for me. I'm not sure when it's been since the last episode. And actually, I'm recording next week. 2 weeks ago's episode. That's how fucked up my timeline has got. So if there's some continuity errors or issues within these episodes where I haven't mentioned the world ending, don't worry, I'll get around to it. Next week episode, I think we're back into the timeline, so we're fine. But yeah, we're going to jump into today's guest. We were talking in the preamble there, saying it's his second appearance. I actually think it may be your third appearance. I think you were on around 50 odd. Oh, did you? Yeah, and you came back in the 90s, something like that, episode 90 something.
Yeah, I think that sounds right, because I think it was the 50s was just coming on, and then the 90s was when I was talking about the Cannaman movie, I think.
Yes, it was just before sort of the premiere and that up in Fife. Anyway, so today's guest, folks, seeing I'm already not doing this the way that I normally do it, is an illustrator, author, and filmmaker. They're the host of the CannamanTV Podcast that's just returned, as we were just talking about the synchronicity of us both within the same week going, we need to chat shit on the internet. He's a creator of the Cannaman comics and the director of the Cannaman movie and the upcoming Donny movie. They are Conor Macleod. How are you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? I'm not bad.
I'm good. I'm still slowly getting back into the routine of remembering how to do this whole podcast thing. But I'm enjoying being back. How are you doing? How are you finding it?
What, back doing podcasts?
Yeah.
It's interesting. As I mentioned before, it's like obviously you have to go through these like dusting off processes for different things. You know, you've got the physical dusting off thing, which is like getting back into editing and even fucking setting up. Like I said before, like obviously smashed my light the fucking first one back, had to fucking do it in the dark essentially. So there's that, but there's like that emotional fucking, I don't know, filter process as well of like just getting back in the zone. I was thinking about it earlier, like it's like this podcasts are brilliant because it's obviously dialogue based, you know, it's an exchange of ideas and you get to information and that kind of stuff. But based on the person doing it, there's like, it's almost explicitly ego. You know, and the very mechanical sense of it. You know, it's like nobody gets on camera and talks without thinking that they have a reason to get on camera and talk. You know what I mean? That's fucking ego. So apart from that self-criticism, I thought it was all right.
Did you find it... Because I find it quite weird, almost like I went to jump into that, yo, how are you doing? And it felt performative because I've done it. It became the standard of like the format, but that naturally evolved organically over time. But then taking that break from it and jumping into it, it didn't feel inorganic, but it just felt, I don't know, like exercising like an atrophied muscle, you know what I mean? But then it kind of quickly fell, or it feels like it's falling back into sort of that routine.
It's funny that because I actually took that, so that same situation of like the atrophy for the muscle. That's why people will notice that I'm not doing at the very beginning, what I'll do is, hey guys, welcome to Cannaman TV, in this episode, blah, 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 like, subscribe and share. Now then, let's do cannabis. And I would say that normally. But by the time I did the fucking first interview, I had no time because I'm going back to work and all that kind of shit. I was like, fuck it. So all I've thrown on is the Cannaman Productions logo and like a bong, a cough, and then, no, the lighter, the bong and a cough. I think that's it. And it's just straight back into it because I was thinking, I was like, I mean, I don't know about you, but like if you check your analytics, the attention span of fucking folk watching anything, folk switch off at 2 seconds. You know, like, what the fuck, man? Don't even give me time to fucking speak. You know.
Yeah, I found it really changed kind of the way that people would view the start of the podcast when I took off the old intro. Because Macca made that, obviously my old co-host when I first started this back in the day. And I quite like the little jingle. But it is very obnoxious. It is very like da, 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 da. And if you've got your phone sort of quiet from a previous video or whatever and it flicks onto that, you're almost instantly annoyed by the level of the sound, even if it's not the sound, you know what I mean? And so people are like, fuck that next thing, give me the next thing. But yeah, it's interesting.
Assault on the senses. You know, you got time to enjoy the fucking thing. You're like, fuck, already not liking it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So as we were saying, sort of in the preamble, we reckon it's December 23. So that's what just over 2 years since we last spoke. I think you were wrapping up on the Donny movie. No, the Cannaman movie. Yeah. Sorry, in 2023. Obviously, the premiere in that went, I think, sort of really well. I'm trying to think. We must have. I'm trying to pull which episodes, because I think we spoke about sort of moving the content onto the website, and then sort of making more of it sort of available onto YouTube. So kind of where are you at with that sort of process? I see obviously on your Facebook you're producing a lot of doodles and sharing a lot of just ideas and sort of concepts as you're going. So yeah, what are you kind of working on at the minute?
It's the filter process. I'm really trying to fine tune, because essentially I want this to be like the podcast to be the job. Like going to work and then coming and doing something, because I fucking love finding out about people, and everybody's got a story. And I've said it before, like every one of us is a walking, talking movie. It just needs to put a soundtrack to the events that have happened in each one of our lives, and that's a film. How entertaining is relative, obviously, but nevertheless. It's just that's the process at the moment, is trying to re-establish the podcast in a direction which is going to be sustainable, and also the thing you mentioned about the website and putting the content up there. I actually checked it the other day, and the last time I think I looked on it, because the card there's an illustration on the front of the web page, and it was like what was it, like 5th of April 2024. That was the last time I touched it. It's almost fucking 2 years ago, and that's the exact format where I was like, I'll put up all the animations here and try and monetize the work. So I'm doing it full time, doing the podcast full time, getting the animations out, all that kind of stuff. But it's just extremely challenging, because you're trying to do 2 or 3 different jobs at one time, and I think that's you're trying to pay the fucking bills as well. So since that's like 2 years ago, what I've realised in the past couple of months, mainly the past 6 weeks, quite honestly, is like taking the podcast more seriously and putting it into a monetized direction. So it's more along the lines of not feeling guilty by asking people to try and support the work that's happening, because what's going to happen in the future with it is it'll be, I mean, fucking look at what's going on. It's just like who watches fucking like BBC and shit like that? These things aren't happening. So it's just like the notion of podcasts are only going to get more and more and more, and it'll evolve and take shape and all that kind of shit. As it did when the fucking first TV would have arrived. When the first TV arrived, it would have been one channel, some dude, and then it's off for fucking the rest of the day, and then it evolved from that fucking basis into like this, So it's like that's the main focus, is just try and monetize it, try and direct it properly, take it more seriously, and try and get good at it. So it's like, because this is like, let's be honest, this is a consumer basis interaction that we're doing right now. We're providing something of some form, hopefully insightful and helpful. If anything, contributing positively towards the person that's viewing his day. They're consuming that, and that's the fucking product basis of that. You know what I mean? So the best thing you can do is try and make the best fucking possible product possible, so people actually are like, nah, no, like it's a two-way street. They get something from us, we get something from them. That's what it's supposed to be. That's why everybody kind of goes back to continually watch their favourite film, or go back and watch that documentary that really fucking moved them, because every time they're watching it, it feels like they're receiving something from it. It might just be a neurochemical dopamine fucking serotonin, but there's still something that's triggering that response initially. So that's the fucking plan, is just get good at this, focus and fucking take it seriously. That's the main thing, and it's difficult to do that because obviously the Donny movie, 3 or 4 months left. It might be 5 months because it's like work and shit like that. But once that's out of the way, then it'll be marketing that and then fucking doing the podcast. But that's the main thing at the moment, is to try and focus the podcast in a direction which is being able to be monetized and taken as the job, in the next fucking whatever period of time. Because I was thinking this, man, like the very first interview I did was February 2021. That's 5 years ago. And every single YouTube channel, even if it's just somebody's name, that's a brand that they're selling their fucking content, selling entertainment. As I said, whatever fucking format that is. So it's like, if you have that in place and you're just taking it as a hobby, that's one thing. But if, like, personally, I'm in a situation as 99% of people are, is that they can't be arsed going to work because it doesn't provide them meaning. That's the main reason. They're more than, like, most people get confused when it says this person's lazy at work. No, they just fucking don't have meaning in it. So they're not motivated to do anything. If you were to give them something that like resonated with their soul, they'll be the hardest worker in the fucking room. But it's because they've been forced into this template of acquiring coin to pay off fucking bills, essentially, like just to live. And that's the challenge, you know, to try and monetize the thing you find is meaningful, because then you have like one life. It's essentially in alignment with that thing of what is it? Find what you love and let it kill you. That's essentially it.
No, 100%. And I think it's as we've discussed, I think in previous podcasts, I think it's the natural inclination of the human being is to create things that, even if to others they seem meaningless, as they have profound meaning to the individual. And it's literally, we're almost going to end up repeating that conversation we had about mastery, that it's finding that thing that feeds you, that you stick long enough, you give something that outlives you to the world, that others look at as a benchmark, and they can climb to that plateau, and from there they can do their thing, and then the next guy comes along, and the next guy, and eventually we can see further, and that knowledge hopefully trickles down and society moves forward, you know. And it's the proletariat existence, without getting too sort of like Marxist on it. It's having to live by selling your labor. It's not being allowed to just get shelter, grow food. Do you know what I mean? You got to pay rent, you got to pay taxes, you got to pay all the other systems that are there. That again, in fair balance, if that job then had meaning and value, and then that was translated into respect and position in your community, not as in a hierarchical sense per se, but as in you are valued for what it is you are and what you bring, then yeah, the world will be a far better place for it. It's difficult with people that you produce something because there's other people in the space doing it. Because I'm more of a hobbyist in terms of then podcasting, etc. Like, it's not, I don't see that's where I want to pull money from. I get money from. I still almost can't get my head around. I know I've got to give something. I physically have to go and be like in a space, like to be bored for an hour and do what I'm told, and that's what money is. I can't get my head around, but I enjoy this, so it feels like, well, I shouldn't be allowed to make money from it in a weird way. But what I was thinking as you were talking is, what we need is ideally something like an alternative media ecosystem that people like you or I could basically sign up for, and a middleman who knows how to smash out the AI, the clips, the whatever. They create like a broadcasting space for alternative media, and they sign on talent, and then from that they would help you basically accrue. I mean, this exists for the average influencer, but because we're effectively unmonetizable to Google, and we're, you know, in the darker realms, even though we're not really, but because of the language we use, the phrasing, the people that we have on, the conversations that we have, we're not, you know, up front for Gillette to want to stick an advert on. But the strength,
let's be honest, man. Let's be honest. The main dark part about that, if we're being honest, it's cannabis. That's the main fucking elephant in the room when it comes to not being monetized. And I think that that's slowly changing. Right now, there is fucking obviously loads of cannabis content creators and that. But then it's a regional thing that's the issue for the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. That's the next challenge. But that's still like way more than it's ever been, which is interesting. But yeah, no, you should definitely not feel guilty for wanting to monetize something you feel that you love, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's definitely one of those challenging things, I think, that's necessary when walking into business. I think that's the main thing. Do you know one of the things that I've learned from the job that I'm in at the moment? Because there are like, it's the first time that I've interacted with people who take meaning from the corporate world. So the corporate world structure and the social politics that are played there, like, it gives them comfort, and it's like they look forward to being in that, like, not confrontational, but certainly it's just the game, the social game. They like being in that corporate social game. And I think and there's nothing wrong with that. That's like personally, it's more like a fucking mathematical kind of approach to life, the way I think about it in that sense. It's, you know, it's like, neither is okay. Like, being creative and somebody that chooses that kind of world, neither is like better in any way. You know, it's just their mind is their personality is tailored to that, which is like mathematical fucking reduction.
It's like, you know, two different evolutionary strategies almost.
Yeah.
Of different archetypal personalities. So then one is like, I'll go learn the rules. Do you know what I mean? I'll go really get into that. Here's the game. Here's the field that we play. I know everything. I know all the stuff. I know how to get around this. And then the people that look at that and go, I can't begin to figure that shit out. So they create an alternative but that is almost constructed of the same thing, but it has to be built beside it because the space in which it is already occupied. And what I mean by that is like the etiquette, the societal norms, the structuring of society. And then see, I mean, you can almost break it down into like neurodivergent, neurotypical is what seems to be a bridge point for a lot. You look at then this whole, people make arguments of like, oh, autism and ADHD didn't exist in centuries past. And you're like, we didn't Darwin write like an 8-part encyclopedia on this one very specific mating pattern of a one fish or whatever, and it's like, dude, what is that? You know what I mean?
Do you know what sorry to interrupt, Simpa. You know what post my mind? You say it has like ADHD and autism didn't exist, and then you fly over to fucking Italy and you see like Michelangelo painting that roof. Like, mate, it's fucking out his face.
Yeah. No, exactly that, and I think that's what you're seeing is we need both. And in some people, they have quite a balance to it, a yin and a yang, and they can be creative and they can work. And it's we're all on that spectrum with it. And I think that society does it in the same way, like, you know, how in, I can't remember the scientific name for it, but in some frog populations, some fish populations as well, they'll have like a sex change, a mass sex change. So they'll be like, oh, there's too many males, we need some females, boom, loads of males become females. I think it's the same with creatives and, I don't want to say bureaucrats, but like, business types, like you say, like the lanyard crew. We need both in society, but then there can be an imbalance of one, and so therefore that's what we have like the Renaissance and stuff like that in response to the Dark Age, because if you have too many businessy people and daddy's up top and daddy says kill everybody, daddy said sorry guys, you do know what I mean? And whereas then the creators are like, well, I've got this radical idea, what if we don't? And it's just, that's all that's happened throughout the ages. And art, poetry, and all these other things are the creative pursuits of us trying to speak that universal language throughout time. You read the books that inspire you to write the books. You know, you read the poems that inspire you to write the poems, the songs, etc. We're all just homaging history into new verbiage in a way to hopefully connect in a new way to, like we said before, leave it on a plateau for somebody else to take it to the next stage.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. No, definitely. I think that's all I mean was that watching those kind of business type personalities.
Sorry, I was just completely cut you off there and went off on a side.
No, not at all, man. I was trying to just fucking cover why I was even speaking. But that's all it is that their ability and like I'm learning from them is the basis of it. I'm learning and like how to shape my personality to be more balanced than to be just over on this side of like you know, the star of an artist is a real thing, and I'd rather not be that guy. You know, so it's just, that's essentially the gist of it.
Yeah, so I think we're all pattern recognition machines as well in a way, and other than say like your Banksy or whatever, very few artists ever get that acclaim and that wealth in their own lifetime. In terms of people that are truly against the systems. I mean, film is maybe slightly different. The odd ones kind of do get through. Maybe not so much in sort of recent decades. The filtration system on film production seems to be a lot more tight. Like there isn't the indie breakthrough movies that really, you know, giving a generation a conceptual idea of what something is, and they can then challenge that through their art. Everything is just regurgitative. His Fast and Furious 10, his Marvel movie 706. Yeah. Like there isn't those things that somebody looks at it and it's this random guy just writes a thing, and so I think like you said, there's lessons to be learned, but I think we're in an imbalance where I think part of it's Tony Blair's fault of the ambition of like 50% of people to university. And then, that led to some like bullshit courses. And then it was almost like getting a degree in creativity. Kind of feels like an oxymoron. Like, no offense to anybody with an art degree or anything out there, but like you've just learned the theory of the thing in a lot of ways. Like, do you get what I'm scratching at with that? Like, it just feels like there's this balance and there is this thing that, there has to be there is a connection between us. It's like yin and yang. I just feel like the corporate world is very much overtaken us, and the hearts and minds of the masses are set on how can I get wealthy right now. Oh, gold's going up, I'll put some money in that. Oh, Bitcoin did what? Well, that's the whole reason NFTs did anything, was it kind of hijacks the language, the aesthetic, the garb of creativity, and people go, oh, they made a new thing. And it's not. It's the same Ponzi scheme in a fancy dress.
Yeah, no, I mean, the notion, I think we're in quite an interesting time for that, because I know what you're saying, that there is this overwhelming narrative of wealth equals a successful life, right? And I think that it's like, if you buy things that you don't need, show people that you're super wealthy by having fucking tons of jewelry and all that kind of stuff. No, that whole like ultra fashion culture thing that's monetized, they try and tell us all that kind of shit. My main aim, quite honestly, is to make it that my job is the thing that's this. That they create like this. So, because my job doesn't make millions, fucking hell, not even close, And so in my mind, I'm like, if I could just switch it over, that's a fucking win. Like that's you're really getting close to winning life if you can do that kind of thing. And I think that's the main, like, I mean, it's never actually changed. And the entire time I've been doing podcasts or doing like drawing and all that kind of shit, the very first time I started thinking the notion of what would make me happy with work, because I've never I've been in places where I've enjoyed the work at times, the job at times, but it's not something that you feel fulfilled by, or that kind of. You still wake up like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like, how can you stop that? How can you wake up in the morning and not be like, fuck, I've got to go to that place? Instead, you wake up like, this is fucking banging. Looking forward to this, And give or take, it'll still be, oh, I've got that difficult challenge today, blah blah. But you're in your own. As you said earlier, you're in your own ecosystem. You've created it. It's your own fucking. You've manufactured your own. Your entire world. Like Dave Chappelle kind of gives me those vibes when it comes to, he wears his own fashion. Like he's always wearing his own like fucking, he's got his letter C and all that kind of shit on his stuff. And I think that's one of those things where we're in a situation where mass overthrow of the economic system's never going to fucking happen, because it's never happened. It's always been like the economic system has always evolved slowly over time as a consequence of events, some of them violent, but the vast majority of it is humans as a culture. The ecosystem evolves over time, and we're in a situation now. We're in a situation now where it's obviously hyper consumerist capitalism shit mixed with tons of themes of obviously like lobbyism and all these different other fucking corrupt inputs and stuff like that. But the notion of it that you can essentially be that guy, you're no longer wearing somebody else's brand, and you could make your entire life that. You can make it that you're encompassed, like for everything that you need to buy, like commercially, you could slowly get it so that you're branding everything in your own fucking life, because that's like the water that you're swimming in, because the alternative to that is that thing of like, I don't know, you fucking live in a tent and just fucking like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the alternative? The alternative is, do that. That's what I've came to the conclusion of this. It's probably fucking wrong. But I don't know. I'm just fed. If I'm being brutally honest, man, it's like I'm just fed up with doing 9-to-5s. Like fuck 9-to-5s, man. And it feels like I've got enough product, if we're talking about that, because I'm obviously working, so I'm fucking contributing product based on that. That I should be monetizing it by now. That's the main fucking thing, And I think we're in an interesting position as well, because it's like it's more available than it's ever been. But it's also, it feels like it's more challenging than it's ever been, because I mean, fuck, it takes 2 seconds to switch on the fucking computer and find a million amazing artists that are doing something better than you're doing. It's really easy to find somebody that's fucking better than you. It takes 2 seconds. So it's there's a lot of emotional challenge nowadays, I think. And I think just to say that it's like, right, I'm going to decide to try and make money off of this thing doesn't mean it's possible. Or going to fucking happen and shit like that, because there's just this mountain of challenge at every single instance, but I do know that I would rather engage in my own structured mountain of challenge than having to fucking wake up in the morning, put on a badge and go somewhere that is somebody else's challenge,
Yeah, no, 100%. I get it. I'm lucky in that I'm hoping, obviously, again, I still can't reveal what the full information is with Albert Green right now. Obviously, we're waiting for time to elapse and potentially something good will happen or not. I can't answer that question right now. But the project that I've built there and the community response and the integration that we've had and the potential of the business that we've opened there is exactly what you were describing before. Like, I get up at 7 o'clock every Sunday morning with a smile on my fucking face, no matter the weather, because I'm out there down in the garden knowing I'm going to be tidying up. We're going to be spending a good few hours down there and getting to interact with the public and building out this idea that eventually that will pay me well, that will give me the opportunity to really level up my life and to have the money for security, but also then for opportunity to then indulge all these other ideas, to chuck some money at the podcast, chuck some money at this, chuck some money at that, you know what I mean? I think for all I'm facing a lot of opposition and difficulties with that, because that's physical, it's easier. The internet, because it's gate kept, because it's so controlled and so Orwellianly kind of censored. Like, there's direct censorship, there's the censorship you know about, and then there's the shit you just don't. And so there's the worst kind of crap. Somebody throws a video together, they just film for 3 seconds, they put no thought into it, it's just something absurd and stupid, and boom, monetized video, doesn't hit any censors, didn't hit any dangerous words, and all overnight, you know, a company reaches out and goes, oh, do you want to sponsor our shoes? And then boom, they go, oh, they're doing that shoes, are they? We've got some socks for your son. Oh, you know, go real good with that, these for shorts. And then a basketball company comes out, and then boom, and then this basketball team's like, dude, come on, you can come on as halftime, and did it. And what did they actually do? But what they've suddenly do, it's your labour, what you're producing, your has great value, but you're unfortunately taking it to a marketplace.
Yeah.
And it's not like you've made onions. You're like, these are good onions. Everyone knows what a good onion is, and you take it and you can say, my onion's better than your onion. Yeah. Like, there's no.
Do you know what's funny? The most example of that is the fucking dude. Everybody their own, but that's the reason why it was funny. The guy that was what was it? Ibiza final boss.
Yeah, man, with the hair and the turkey teeth.
My man fucking became a millionaire overnight, you know, just from like, just from nothing, you know.
That catch me outside girl.
Yeah, so it's well, those are one of the emotional challenges I was meaning, is that you have to now deal with the emotional challenge of walking into that world and trying to compete with a really unfair algorithmic structure. But that's what makes me just think, look, increase the quality enough and be authentic enough. That's the main thing. Like, you have to be authentic.
That's what's got the real weight to it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because people don't want to be bullshitted, and people also have a kind of good radar. You know, people can tell somebody's fucking bullshitting. You know, that's one of the challenges of me going to work every day.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so that's. I think this is like 2026 is a year of panning my cunt in, fucking building this, and then finishing the Donny movie. Because the Donny movie is, let's say, that's been. I had a look on this the script, and I started writing it. I think it was the 24th of June, 2024. So that's almost 2 years that I've been working on that, and I've got about, let's say, 3 or 4 scenes left. So yeah,
in production or in writing.
No. I mean, all I need to do is the full script's completely written. Storyboards I've done. That's just for this scene. All I've got left to do is record the voices and put up the soundtrack, because everything's all coloured and fucking drawn, all that kind of shit, and it's been put into the software for this scene. So all I need to do is, and I was doing it earlier actually before I fucking went out, was recording some of the voices for the scene. And then after that, I've got the 3 scenes left to do completely, apart from the storyboard stuff like that. It's just like drawing, colouring, fucking all that kind of shit, you know. But that'd be three scenes, and it's insane when I'm looking over the fucking storyboard, and like it's cool to get to a point where you just kind of experience your own process. That's what it feels like, where you're kind of in a situation where it takes ages to get good at something, and then when you get good at something, it feels like you can kind of sit in the seat of that, being good at that thing. You're no longer fucking uphill constantly trying to get good. You're not looking at the picture like, you know, like at the beginning I would draw Cannaman 2 or 3 times and he looked different every time. You know, the proportions would be out of sync and all that kind of stuff. But now it's like, it's like I said in the Productive Path book I wrote a few years ago. It's the skill set's been standardised, so every time I do it now, it's the same similar standard. So it felt nice to do that, like do the storyboard and write the script and stuff like that. And storyboard specifically, because I'm somebody that thinks in pictures. That's what it's like. And I was thinking about one of the things that I think kind of cool about when I did the Cannaman movie, and obviously the same with the Donny movie, is it's that relatively common thing, was that it doesn't feel like it's me. I'm sitting there, because the storyboard is fucking like just thrown out. It's a really bizarre, you know, I'll just sit here and it's like I just sit with the fucking bit of paper in front of me, and then I begin to get flashes behind my fucking eyes of like in an order of fucking stuff. That's what it feels like, and I just write it down super loose. like do the wee fucking sketches. It's like ridiculously awful. No effort involved, no proportion. That's just like in my mind, I'm like, I know what that means. Like that's what I could. Sometimes I look at it and think, what the fuck did I know there? There's nothing, but it's just because I've scribbled it down, So yeah, that was cool. And then once I felt that excited feeling once I got to the end of the storyboard. So I'm trying to think how many scenes. I think I've done about 8 or 9. So I think there's about 14 scenes altogether, and I think I'm on 9, 10. I think 10, something like that.
Nice. Are you going to be doing another premiere for Donny?
Yeah. So this is this is one of those additional hurdles to actually being to fucking making the thing is of how do you market it then? And so what I'm thinking is there's a couple of places, a couple of theatres around here that I could do like an initial premiere and then a secondary screening, that kind of thing. But the main thing in my mind is contacting people that would distribute it. So my plan is to contact like BBC Scotland, the talent scouts that do the fucking looking over indie projects and that for that year, to then maybe screen them next year, that kind of stuff, and contact those people, try and get them to come down and watch it, and pitch it in that way of this has got season potential, which it definitely has. There's no, I'm like, although that when I'm doing it and I'm watching it back and making it, I have a constant sense of this is fucking shit. When I come away from it and I think about it, I have confidence that it's like a solid product. It's a fucking, it just needs to be fine-tuned. It's never going to be a finished article yet because I've not finished it. Donny, even after the Donny series, and then there's more content, and it's there's another series that I was thinking of doing, like this other animated series, nothing relating to cannabis or that kind of shit, just more like Scottish humour, banter stuff, and and it was just the other day, so my son had said to me, he's like, you should include that in the same Cannaman and Donny universe. And then it got me thinking about that thing where I was like, like after I've kind of exhausted the notion of that series, because Cannaman and Donny is obviously fucking fantasy. It's a 6 foot rabbit. Come on, you know what I mean? So it's obviously fantasy. Mm-hmm. But this series I wouldn't want to have in that fantasy world. So like all I was thinking after he was saying that was, I was like, obviously I was thinking about the rest of the night, if I'm being honest, was that what I could do is after 1 or 2 series of this seasons of this next series, I could then make it fantasy, because I've exhausted all the realistic fucking options, maybe, of humour, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
or you could, this is an idea just playing in my head, what if you had them playing the straight guys, the new characters are the straight guys in the universe, so the comedy derives from them, the juxtaposition of them being completely normal, as it were, in the abnormal.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is, that's all I was meaning, was at the end it would be one of those things that I would kind of filter, fine-tune type thing, and it would find itself kind of thing. But yeah, that'll be about 18 months away, I think. I'll be about 18 months away. This is the Donny movie will be, I'm hoping, August, and then it'll be premiering probably October. That's what I'm thinking. If I can get to October 12th again, because then that's 3 years on the nose from the Cannaman premiere, that'll be banging. But I definitely think, because I've got somebody working on like Donny movie merch, so there's like cups and fucking t-shirts and all that kind of shit again. But I'm extremely excited about this film. Like, it looks fucking shit hot. It really does. It's frustrating because I've seen like all of the shit, and I don't know if I should maybe make a miniature trailer or something, but I don't want to show it too much. But it's definitely a lot more, it's dark, because I was thinking about this when I was watching it over. I was like, it's like 12 or 13 minutes in before Donny even speaks. It's like it's like significant, but it's just he's on the screen and no saying anything, and because he's not. Like I said, I don't want to say too much. It's just it's really good, and I do 2 things of fucking 2 things that I tip my hat to The Sopranos. So like I create 2 fucking scenes. I think 2 scenes. Yeah, 2 scenes that are like people that are fans of The Sopranos will immediately notice that that's where it's from, which was cool to do, because I fucking, I like doing that kind of, I like seeing that when you're on like The Simpsons and shit like that, when they like do like a kudos to a different program or a film or something.
Yeah, man, that little homage is lush. No, I could, because of the character that Donny is and the screen presence that he has, like you said, being a 6 foot rabbit, I can see how that'll work without dialogue, to be fair, at the start. Be like a Jay and Silent Bob kind of moment where he speaks and it's the profundity
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate that, Mark, because the thing is, the basis of the film, because I'm thinking about how I would market it and what would be the words used and that kind of thing. And it is very much a film that deals with loss, mental health issues as a consequence of that, and just that theme. Really, he's in a bad way for more than one reason, Donny. This is not like to the point where I was even thinking, I was like, when is the first joke? Like, when is the first thing that's funny? You know, because it's certainly not in the first 15 minutes. You know, so, and that's all I was meaning when I was like, maybe I should throw in like a fucking funny thing, and you know, but it just doesn't feel at that moment. There's funny moments throughout it, but even the funny moments are dark. Like, even like it's what I think's funny, and it's no meant to be funny. Like, it's no, I don't know.
Well, it's the Donny part of the duo, you know. Cannaman was, the more light, more not stereotypical, but do you know what I mean? More expected, and Donny is that counterweight to it. And obviously then with it being, I don't know how much, I don't want to give away any of the narrative really to the audience, but it being more of a Donny heavy movie, then that'll come out naturally in the themes and kind of the dialogue and the structure of it. Yeah. No, well, the thing is, it's interesting you say that about him being like stereotypical, because that's actually quite an interesting, because what is a stereotype? It's an easily recognised pattern of behaviour. That's this, or like of that kind of form. Whereas Cannaman's meant to be that exactly. If he's supposed to be, he encompasses largely the ego and the super ego. Those two factors of the psyche, you know. Whereas Donny is 100% id to the core. That's what his whole thing is. You know, pleasure based, sensory based. You know, all the socially undesirable, impulse driven behaviours. That's what Donny is. So, and what happens when somebody that's predominantly that personality goes through a serious sense of loss? They would just dive straight into the substance abuse and like self-harming behaviours and all these kind of things. That's what would happen, and that's what happens. You know, that's what happens in the film. There's purposely as well structuring it that's similar to the Cannaman movie. You know, I'm very conscious of two specific things that's crucial in the film that's similar to what I did in the Cannaman movie, and I'm doing it on purpose because Cannaman and Donny are like, you know, that's Laurel and Hardy. That's fucking two different things. So it's like I should make it that they share this, you know, because it just makes it a lot fucking, I don't know, lore wise, it's good because I'm only ever going to do one Donny movie. I'm only going to do one Cannaman movie. So I think it was kind of it just felt right to do that. So it's not as if like people watch, oh, that's certainly, you know, you'll feel it. It'll be the same. Oh, nice. Again, mark of a good filmmaker. You kind of play out and create your own sort of unique signature, as it were, throughout the work, and to then be conscious of it means that, in retrospect, people will be able to identify it and see it, and it'll become sharper the more you hone it. Awesome. You've been obviously doing like the Cannaman skits. You've been doing any more of the sort of the physical graphics, like the comics, or you've been working on any more sort of books or anything recently?
No, the Donny movie is totally fucking all inclusive. The only things I've been doing is I'm taking notes for a book that's I don't know when the time I'm going to be able to get to fucking do it, but yeah, that's not, apart from that. So I've not really been taking anything seriously. It's just been Donny movie focused, and trying to make a better format for the Cannaman podcast and try and get on fucking better people. But even fucking even sending a couple of emails takes up a lot of time. You know, you write it and you know, in a way that kind of promotes you positively and stuff. Yeah, no, if I'm being honest, Simpa, I wish I could fucking I might actually do that, man. Do you know, after this podcast, I might actually send you over a scene in the Donny movie. Just because it's frustrating, because I'm really fucking close. You know, I'm like really close to finishing it. And it's like, I don't know why I say too much about it, but yeah, that's been the main focus, if I'm being honest, of recently. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think either way, we'll get you back on the back end of the year after premiere and everything. Could sort of reveal a bit more, and obviously I'll come up and support again, so we can chat about it.
No, I appreciate that greatly. It was great to see you there the last time, because the thing is, obviously, you got to see it. Obviously, I came on a podcast and stuff, we're talking about it, and then, like, the Cannaman movie, I'd like to have a lot more people there. I think there was just over 100 people at the Cannaman movie premiere. And this time, obviously, I'll definitely do a Q&A as well at the end, because that was one of the things that a lot of people had asked after it finished. They're like, oh, you should have done a Q&A and talked about it, because I was getting tons of different questions from different people about, like, how I was creating it and what to do with it and all that kind of stuff. But I think the main thing, I mean, let's say other people that are watching this would obviously, some of them would have seen it, but it's cool to watch something that's like, from loads of people, they would just say to me, it's like, holy shit, it's an actual film, which I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? It's like, it's an actual film. But even that, if I'm being honest, without fucking going on a total tangent as I normally do, is that I've got the Cannaman movie on private at the moment on the YouTube channel. So, because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know, it's just, it took fucking ages to make, and I don't know, like, there's so many people that they'll make their film. Like, I interviewed Gary Fraser the other day that did, he was the second unit director on Trainspotting 2, and he's got a film that his very first film that he did, and that's up on Amazon Prime, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if it just feels like a waste throwing it on YouTube, or just come to terms with the fact that this is just what I do, and if it gets successful, cool. If it doesn't, then cool. Because there's a feeling of frustration that people can't watch it. You know, like, because it's something that's like I was saying the other day, like, without the observer, the artist is in an echo chamber. You know, that's you need the observer. They're as crucial as having the piece of art. So yeah, it's just I think I might just fucking put it back up on YouTube. I don't know.
Like I said, it's difficult because of the nature of the environment that we're in. Stream services and the state of broadcasting, the state of the arts in general in both Scotland and England and UK wide, you know, post, I don't even know how far we were on this point, 20 year of austerity, you know what I mean, and defunding. So like I said, it's hard to get that exposure in a way that rewards you fairly. Because yeah, it's the same as like the artist paradigm of a musician, you know, and Spotify or whatever, is what you're actually making per listen versus what you would have sort of on a CD distribution back in the day. As yeah, really fucked it. And in an economy where people are just struggling, it's
yeah, I'll be honest, it's that's almost double-edged sword type thing, because in the same time as that, there is a part of me that is just obviously clearly probably like more insecurity or whatever, but there's a part of me that kind of feels like there is still an element of meritocracy built into it, you know, and it's just the reason why you're not at the level you're at is because the what you've created isn't at that level, you know. And the amount of time you
yeah, but I would argue that you're starting from a massive deficit. If you were Banana Man TV Productions and it was Banana Man, very different conversation.
Yeah,
it's the Cannaman. It's like I said, it's the, do you know what I mean? That's what instantly gives it. That's what gives it its authenticity, its unique flavor. It's what is meaningful about it. But it's because of what it is that it's kind of rejected. But in a way, it's conscious of that. It's loud. It's proud, and it's your art in that way is an embodiment of your struggle. Yeah. Of you, of like you were saying, you recognize the reality of the situation. For most people, like, is we're gonna have to work the thing. You sell the labor to get the money to then invest in the thing. But then you can see they've opened up this avenue and going, go sell your onions. And like, you turn up to the market, like I said, and they're like, oh no, not them onions. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, it's got to be so frustrating. I mean, I applaud you for the continuity and the consistency within the work. And Cannaman, from like UK history of cannabis and the movies and the way that you've produced this, will be down in the timeline and chronology of our history. Like I said, it's just one of those.
Oh man, that's fucking appreciate that.
You're not going to be appreciated in your own time. Like, I'm not saying that I am per se as well, but like people that we've been in the space, we're part of the history. We're making it whether we choose to or not. In a way, we're out there. We're putting ourselves forward, and you'll hear it. It's one of those things that I imagine is really deeply frustrating when like some director wins an Oscar or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is for you, director, and everyone's like, who the fuck's that guy? And he's like, well, that's I think of him like you think of me, but you people don't know that person. So it's being like an esoteric hero. It's being known, but by the people who actually give a shit about the thing on a deeper level. It's not just been elevated to the surface because it's highly marketable, it's highly advertisable. They can make a lot of money off you. So it's more meaningful because it's in defiance of its own oppression. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because that's how, especially like independent. Often, the way I picture this is the same way that like rappers would be at the beginning. You've got this like this bed fucking, like mainly in the 90s, and you obviously still the same now, but generally speaking it's like you've got this like seabed of talent that's constantly fucking trying, and then you'll get one person about to jump out the water and land on the boat. You know what I mean? And it's like that, and it's the obviously the boat being the fucking network and all that kind of shit. And I think that's what this is. You know, it's just that if you're able to just fucking keep chipping at it and keep making the stuff, eventually you'll be able to either land on the boat or be sustainable enough that you don't need it. And I think that's the better option. Like if I was to choose something of getting like the stuff taken by, so let's say, I mean, it's not obviously whatever, but hypothetically, so the two options, if I got given, BBC Scotland, they air this as like a similar to fucking still game series, that kind of thing, and then they run it on a weekly basis, and then it's series 1, series 2, that kind of thing, like No Doors Down, that kind of format. There's that, be successful that way, or there's be successful in the way that's independent entirely, massive fucking YouTube following, massive social media presence, all that kind of stuff, and you do it that way. That's obviously a much more challenging way. Both are challenging, and if I was to select one, it'd be the independent one. The one that doesn't involve having to sign a contract with some fucking network TV show, network TV fucking enterprise distribution network. You know, I'd rather make it that people were willing, had that same level of recognition for the work. And you would have the same, because the other thing as well is like, you'll have a specific audience. You'll have your fan base where people they like your content. So often it's that thing where if somebody, like if anyone used to watch any of the Cannaman series, for instance, that's one of the things actually that I was thinking before, because there's the entire Cannaman animation series that's just sitting up on YouTube now. Obviously the animation's a lot cruder because it was the beginning starting points of it, but there's still an entire body of work there that's you know, it just feels like there's no, I don't know, it's kind of like somebody being like they're a good songwriter and they've got a good song sitting, but it's just sitting there, you know. It just kind of feels a bit like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's just it's one of those inevitable challenges. The way I think about it as well is like there's always time. You know, there's always time. Like I'm 35 now. It's like, you know, if it takes me until I'm 50, 55, 60. Stephen Pressfield, the author, he's a good example of that. You know, he was writing from his mid-20s onwards, and he didn't publish anything until he was like 45, 46, something like that. And he's in his 80s now, and he's done like, you know, the War on Art. He done like what was it? Bagger Vance, I think one of his books, I think, and a few others. You know, he's done loads of really good books, like fucking stories and like self-help books, but a lot more deeper than that. And he was in his later life, you know, so I think that's one of the things that should be taken on board when you like sincerely pursue anything. Is like, how long are you willing to do this before you give up? And if there's even an answer to it, then it's probably not for you. If you really fucking love the thing, it's more along the lines of, I'm going to do it whether I become fucking successful or not, because if I didn't, I would lose a part of myself. And that's what it's like. So I'm making this shit. I mean, I've said it before, it's like I'm making a Donny movie. I can't wait to watch it. Like, you can probably see it when I'm talking about it. It's like, I can't wait to put all the scenes, because they're all broken. You know, so I can't wait to put all the fucking scenes in order and all that, and get it all synced and sit back. Because there's a couple of, listen, with the Cannaman movie, when I finished the full thing, I had to watch it and obviously put all the scenes together, watch it from beginning to end with a notepad, and like write down all the parts of like, there was too many blinks in that scene, or his hand fucking jarred at that part, or his mouth moves and there's nobody speaking, that kind of shit. And I would have those notes, so then I would go through it for one last like edit and filter process, edit all that shit out, and then watch it again with in my mind like, right, I've went over it, I've cleaned it through all the edits, this should be the last one. And that moment of this should be the last one is when you get to see it for the first time. But when you get to see it for the best time is when you see it fucking on that massive screen, and then you hear the audio, you know, and the soundtrack. It's like, it's fucking something else. Like, And like, because the film with the Cannaman movie was on for an hour, so it was like an hour of me sitting with my fucking heart rate totally jacked, you know, and just like nothing but endorphins and fucking serotonin, and just for an hour solid. It was a really peculiar sensory experience as the film's playing, because I've spent a year building this thing, and now I'm sitting in the company of like 100 other people that are judging it.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting. So I'm looking forward to replicating that.
No, I mean, you raised some interesting points there. I think just the visualization that I had to expand on your metaphor of kind of the seabed of talent, as it were, then jumping up and getting into the boat, is that through the action of trying to get into the boat, you strengthen your fins, as it were. You learn how to swim, so you can swim the fuck away. You recognize that the boat isn't the only way out of the seabed, that there's a whole ocean of opportunity. It's just we're told that up is the only way, and that is the only thing. And yeah, there's something to the whole artistic endeavor that, like I said, it's rebellion to a certain degree, of like that we consciously go like, yeah, I'm doing this, and we engage in that in a bit, and you play with it, and it's being conscious of that allows that authenticity to flow, and for you to get out of your way enough to actually do the thing and put it out there without being so self-critical, hypercritical that you tear it apart and you stop. And yeah, there's another part or element to it that it's almost a compulsion. That thing is there and it won't go away. You'll start thinking about it more and more, and it'll take up more and more of your cognitive space. It'll invade your dreams. You'll find yourself doodling it. It'll be that thing that floats in to your thoughts, you know, whenever you're trying to do anything you really need to be focusing on. And then after a while, I think it can start to make you sick. You can start to, you start to, you know, withdraw into yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, because you're not allowing yourself this thing. And then it becomes harder the more you ignore it to then step back up again. It's harder to swim back at the boat, or to even believe that there is a boat, or to remember you're a fish and there's water. Do you know what I mean? You just get so lost within anything that protects you from this sense that you're betraying yourself. And I think that's a mark of a true creative type, is somebody that can't help but create. And if they're lucky enough that they can have that moment of like satori, as they call it, like in Zen Buddhism, that kind of enlightenment, brief enlightenment noticed in retrospect, where they can kind of go, oh, that's the thing. And then as they go towards it, everything just naturally seems to fall into place. And it's your own individual measure of what is success. Like when you were first doing this, getting that first one and you put it out, that's success. Or finished first season, that's success. And you'll always push yourself and you'll always go with it. It's just difficult that it's so intimately connected and tied with this need to survive, that you're taught now that the creative pursuit, no, that's a job now. And you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, and it comes with all of those pressures. And like you were saying, it's harder ever more now, because the big people take everything. Your Mr. Beasts, your iShowSpeeds, you know, those kind of people, like the money they take out of that ecosystem. It's the same with like as an OnlyFans, as an analogy. You know, yeah, that lassie took 12 million last year, but there's 12 million took 10 quid or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I
mean, that's the Pareto distribution, you know, generally speaking. So it seems to be that, I think it's like the Pareto distribution is like this. I don't know if describing it as an economic analysis, but you can certainly apply it to that, of proportions relative to anything. So it's like in the Amazonian jungle, there'll be fucking like 10% trees taller than the rest, and inside of that 10% there'll be 1% which will be fucking taller than those 10. And in that, you'll find that in like sporting leagues as well. There's always like this small little fucking caption of teams, like 5 or 10 teams which are fucking shit hot, and inside of there they've got like 2 or 3 which are really good. And that same thing happens, like that same distribution can be applied to essentially anything. And I think that, so it's understandable that like that would then happen for YouTube as well, because that's always like, specifically because it's a monetized format now, you know, but yeah, so it's interesting how it's just a challenging, you know, to just be able to fucking navigate properly.
Well, it's like I said, the tools are not at your disposal. It's like you're going to market, to keep going back to my analogy, and you have to bring special credits. You're not allowed to use cash. So normally on YouTube, I hit 1,000 followers, I've done 1,000-hour videos, whatever the limit you've got to hit to then actually monetize your channel, and then boom, you just get better in your content, you get more views, and then because you see them, it motivates you, and you go through that pathway. That pathway is slammed shut in your face. You can't monetize. That's too close to cannabis. Look, there's a leaf there that looks suspiciously like one of those leaves we don't like. So you've got to go and build another place. You've got to go somewhere else where there isn't that set up infrastructure. You've got to go to, say, Patreon or whomever, and then you've got to give them a chunk of your shit. Granted, you would have YouTube anyway, but they take it from the front end, not the back end. So it's not a level playing field, is basically what I'm sort of getting at with all of this. And I don't know how to make it any fairer.
It's that thing. We won't be able to make it any fairer. All we can do is try and have confidence in the thing that we're doing is going to be recognised enough based on the authenticity of it. And one of the things that pops to my mind is that, and it sounds silly, but Bill Burr, the stand-up comedian, he'd said, Dave Chappelle had said to him when he was younger, he kind of got off stage or something and said to him, you're going to eventually get to the place you want to go. It was like advice for him, but he says, but it's just going to take you a lot longer to get there, that's all. He says, but keep doing what you're doing. And that sometimes pops to my mind when, like, the work that I'm producing and stuff like that, where I was like, it feels like, I mean, who are we to decide the timeline in which we should get the return? We can't. It's just like that. I think that's where the notion of watching people fucking become comfortable overnight is the expectation for that thing. But it's like that's a hyper realistic fucking like extreme. That's what that is. That's an extreme. That's like right on the fucking like the end. Like it's just that's not how life works. That's the fucking small percentage type thing. Whereas you're able to like make your own house, metaphorically speaking, if you do something with enough integrity, so as long as you keep chipping at it, the tree will eventually fall down.
No, I don't doubt it. I just wish that there was a level playing field, because it's not even just for the creatives, for ourselves or for others. It's what the world would look like if legitimately what was popular was what was popular. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't just that this is artificially boosted by TikTok and then that got cross-posted to Instagram, which went viral, and then that got put onto this, and then somebody did the next post, and it just becomes self-referential about this thing that was inorganic, and it creates all this inorganic traffic, because again, half the world's bots. I suppose that's the way you could go down. You can just bot the shit out of it, get your numbers through the roof, but it'll be completely vapid and void of any fucking meaning.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, man, I'll do that for a fortnight and get enough money to then pay the bills, buy a house, all that kind of shit, and then go back to being authentically creative. I'll delete that viral video now and back to the couple of hundreds. We're good. Thing is, though, in the context of this, I mean, it's understandable that there's one of the things that kind of feels like I don't know if it's lethargy or just apathy or whatever the fuck, but the notion of the system in which these fucking things are made, like YouTube and all that kind of shit, it's like, I don't know how much of these files you've been looking at, but fuck's sake, man, every single one of these like social structures that are crucial in all of our lives are led by some fucking, do you know what I mean? And that's what makes it like I'm kind of dealing with, like, as I'm sure a lot of people are, with an existential notion of what is real. Yeah. And I think that, and I think, let's say, I don't know if it'll probably get taken down talking about the shit, who knows, man, but it's like,
let's try it. Name it, let's try it.
Well, I don't think, like, the note, like, these fucking bullshit files that have been released and all that kind of stuff, that's on purpose, man. That's no some accident that they've managed to just, oh dear, we've slipped up. Fuck off. That's not what happens, man. That's just not how these things go. And I think there's a part of me that thinks that it's about desensitizing people and also about consuming their consciousness. I think that's what this is, because the internet is flooded with this fucking poisonous descriptive shit. And every single person is like fucking consuming this and then walking about their day, and it's like living in their mind, and that's like, it seems to be like one of the elements, I think, of why attention is so important, because attention can be harvested. That's what it feels like. And I think that's what this is. I don't think this is an accident. Maybe I'm pessimistic or fucking ignorant, or I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like, I think anything that gets distributed on a global scale, with these like tight-knit structures in place. Like, I think that's tailored to be that way. That's what it feels like.
100%. I was just checking that because I couldn't remember the name of the guy that made the movie. But have you seen the documentary by Adam Curtis, Hypernormalization?
No.
It's pretty good. It's on the BBC for people who like defrauding the iPlayer. It's quite long. I think it's nearly 3 hours, if I remember correctly. Although saying that I had a kidney infection when I was watching it, so it felt like a fever dream anyway. But there's parts of that talk about sort of the KGB strategy of kind of effectively the modern parlance right now is Steve Bannon saying flood the zone with shit. So the KGB figured out, and then as kind of the Soviets collapsed and the new kind of Russian state rose and the oligarchs had the power grab, etc., and Putin made his sort of moves and everything kind of moved into the modern state that we know today, they basically funded everything and they allowed everything. So you create a situation where nobody knows what anybody truly believes. You create a space where then the parties can, they don't stand for anything anymore. It used to be 30 odd year ago, a conservative, you could list their values, and every conservative you met almost mirrored that perfectly. A liberal would be this, a socialist this. Do you know what I mean? They were archetypal in that way because the parties reflected those ideologies, those beliefs, those theocracies, those structures. And then, over time, have basically just... it's the BBC's whole attitude and approach of, impartiality. It rains shit out. It's raining today, and they get a guy, it's got to say there's a guy coming today saying it's raining shit outside. Like, do you know what I mean? For balance, we now need the lunatic. Do you know what I mean? And that creates normalization. It's they call it the Farage effect of him being on like Question Time 30 odd times or whatever it is. And then just over time, he went from a fringe European politician, and then the mainstream media effectively, through hypernormalization, turned him into a household name. Because the system itself, it went, that got attention, so we'll feed it more. And so it just, we're in this fucking spot where nothing feels real. It's this hypernormalization plus the normalcy bias where you're kind of like, no, we can't go to nuclear war. That's not going to happen. No, Trump isn't going to fucking annex Greenland. No, they're not going to go kidnap a president of another country in the middle of the night. No, they're going to use sonic weapons on their own citizens and start murdering them in the street. No. Like, your brain just won't allow it. And even when it happens, you'll then go and you come up with all these rationales. This is a deliberate thing to us. You got to think of, I think we've discussed in the past, like what MK Ultra and everything was. That's only the revelations of one internal state apparatus. What the fuck do you think everybody else was doing? What do you think all of those people learned? How do you think those techniques are then applied through honey traps and people like Epstein? Fuck it, Epstein. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. All right, we're still recording. I can always edit this out or censor that if fucking needs to be. I don't think even YouTube's that bad these days, to be fair.
No, I mean, it's fucking all over YouTube now. That's why it's this like absolute drowning the whole fucking thing.
It's not conspiracy anymore. That's the thing. If, like I said, you then go to conspiracy doesn't exist, you then go, here's all the shit. And instead of them going, here's 3 million files. And then I'm sure I saw yesterday somebody coming out saying a British media source going like, this is potentially only like 3%. They said they had 6 million documents or whatever, and so this would be like half of them. But someone's like, no. According to like the data that they had, this is a tiny fraction. And so, like you said, they've had it for that long. They've gone through it. What is allowed to persist is of use, is a function. Whether it seems abhorrent and it's to create outrage. Whether it's agreeable and it's to get you to be sweetened up to that idea and this notion, and do you know what I mean? It's the things that it's Terence McKenna said it perfectly in the fucking 80s, 70s. When's that video from? I can't think when the hell this video's from. Whenever it said that the culture is not your friend. The media culture, the political culture, the mainstream culture is not your friend, and the mainstream has now so irreparably consumed subcultures that there isn't an authenticity within it because anybody can just cosplay it and anybody can just jump about and into it. Do you know what I mean? So that people don't feel this need to be permanent. they don't feel this need, and because of that, they lose a sense of permanence and grounding within themselves. Today I've woke up and I'm going to reinvent myself and I'm this now. Look, I've changed all my socials, deleted all the pages. I've now started using these words, these hashtags, these whatever. I'm showing my age by saying hashtags. But do you know what I mean? Like
well, there's no to use hashtags now. Fuck, I'm old as well.
No, it's a bad marketing strategy apparently is to use hashtags these days.
No fucking making it coin.
But again, it's those kind of things. Is exactly what I was saying about with the restrictions of it. Like you could be that bookshop that opened in the 70s and still have the same front of the shop, but you're there on the high street. You're not hidden. People walk past you. Granted, they can gentrify you out of it. But my point is that you had a passion. You got the money together. You set up shop, and you were on the high street the same as every fucker else. In the modern way of trading in e-commerce, you're not allowed on the high street. You're just not allowed. The high street doesn't exist. It's Amazon. And you go to Amazon and go, please, sir, can I have a little corner on a shelf in the back alley over there? I'll pay you everything. Thank you, sir. And they've done that Amazon model to everything, to all media, to all art. And yeah, it's the long rebellion, brother. And it's the beautiful thing of by persisting and doing something, you will always trip over the next thing you were meant to do. If you sit still, you will miss every fucking opportunity. Yeah. And it might not be the thing that you get success from. It's like, say if you do this other animation style and somebody goes, oh, fuck, da-da-da. Like, everything starts crude. Like, anything that became like a major global hit, think of any of your adult animations in your first series. Like, me and my mate have started going back through South Park, and we were looking at Randy, Stan's dad, and the first iteration of his character, his head's like oval and almost eggish. It like pops up, and it's so jarring compared to the new. But you accepted it through the linear when you were living it, because it was that gradual evolution. Like you were saying, the design and the production of it becomes almost automated to yourself, but you refine it every time. You get that little bit better, oh, I can actually use this technique, I can do this, I can do that, and it refines. And at a certain point, there's that kind of tipping point where it then becomes referential in other things. Other people will homage, oh, I like the idea that he's used these colors and that thing, and they'll add an element to it, and then, like I said, you become part of the legacy of the future or part of the tapestry of all creativity. And I think it would be far better for us all to have, some threads within that than to fight over the one patch and it never get produced.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's a poor analogy.
Completely agree, Simpa. 100%. It's I suppose just rewarding in itself, do the thing, and that's the main gist.
Do something, anything. Like, apathy will kill you. Like, it's if you sit still long enough, you stop engaging in personal, mental, physical hygiene. You stop engaging in connecting with others, and you just sit with that little black mirror, and it just narrows you into a smaller and smaller worldview, and you get more and more outraged and more disconnected, and the idea of leaving your home and talking to others becomes ever more difficult. It's
take a fucking dark turn, bro.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's people have got into a dark position, dude. Like, people are not well. You and I are lucky in that our thing is we're going to die doing this. Whether people look at it and give a shit about it or not, they can come and laugh at it, they can come and enjoy it, they can come and whatever. Don't give a shit. Still going to go do it. Still going through it.
Yeah.
But there's some people that have no connection, and while they're locked in that digital realm, the world around them is being sold off. And it's the whole thing of like, the people saying to you the Cannaman movie premiere, this is a real film, because it's part of the whole environment. They were able to go and buy popcorn and sit in the seats that flock down and the big screen, and that's that acceptance in that space. And that's
I appreciate that, Simpa, because that was one of the things that I loved about obviously I had never ever done that before. I'd never done a premiere. I'd never built a film over the course of a year or so, and then had it like it was completely new, all of it. It was all scary decisions and shit like that. And one of the things that I enjoyed most, one of the pieces of information that I got the most enjoyment from, was when I was actually sitting there in the theatre as everybody's watching the film, and it must have been about 20 minutes in, maybe halfway through, and I got this, and then people were like laughing, and there was emotional responses, and in that moment, in real time, I had a thought of I'm directly affecting the central nervous systems of everybody in this room as a consequence of an idea I had fucking a year ago. Before anything, I had an idea, and I just slowly fucking built from that idea over the course of a year. And then as a consequence of that, and then the reason why that's important is think about what it means to be able to do that. Like, that's why everybody enjoys the feeling of somebody, if you say a joke and somebody laughs, everybody likes to feel that, I'm funny. Like, why would being funny be important? And it's because you're able to, like, there is definitely an element of that, of like, you've affected somebody on a very deep level. And that like commonality is like, it resonates, and it's, and that's, yeah, I'm making them laugh, therefore I feel good, but it's much deeper than that. So when you have that, like a tool to be able to extend that over the course of different emotions, over the course of fucking, more than one joke, and like give them context and perspective and stuff like that to consider, because that's what it is. You're providing a perspective for an hour and a half. You're giving them that perspective, and it's up to them what they do with it. And it's one of those things, it's like life. Two people can share the same experience, the same event, but experience it differently. And I think that's what's kind of like, that's one of the things I love about making a film, because it's, it's a massive deal to even just resolve to yourself, right, I'm going to make this thing and it's going to take 2 years, and you're sitting with a sheet of paper and a title. You're like that, to go to in that moment to be like, right, this is called this, and this is going to take me this is going to take me 2+ years to make this thing. That's a real emotional experience in itself. And the only reason why you get to appreciate it properly is because you've done it before and you've completed the full task. Because that's the thing. Loads of people can sit and stare at a sheet of paper. They won't get the feeling in retrospect if they don't complete the fucking task. And it has to be significant. It has to be well beyond your comfort zone. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be beyond your comfort zone and beyond the horizon in which you can see. Because I couldn't see what the fucking premiere looked like. I would get flashes. Interestingly, I've said this before, I think, was that one of the things I would get as I'm drawing is I would visualise, that's probably the wrong word, but an audio response of people cheering. That's what I kept doing on purpose. I'll be sitting drawing and then be like trying to, like, we've all heard a crowd fucking cheer before, so I was just trying to simulate that in my mind and pretend like that was the premiere. And that's what happened at the end of the premiere. That was, you were there, folk were cheering, and yeah, that kind of shit, So that was interesting. And that kind of gave me an impression that what I visualise, I can receive. And I think the thing to appreciate about that is you will receive it. It just might not look like you thought. That's the main thing. It's like, you might go like that, I want this fucking, like, hypothetically somebody says I want a Ferrari, and then they get like a fucking, I don't know, like an equally good car, but it's not a Ferrari. They're like, I wanted a Ferrari. Mate, you've got all the constituents that you asked for there. You know what I mean? And that's the main thing. And that's what will happen every single time any of us. That's what's best about this, quite honestly. Because, before we came on here, Simpa, that's what I like about this process, the alchemical process of transformation, of being creative and stuff. Everybody has that to some capacity available to them. And it's like they're a treasure trove of things to provide the world before they leave, that other people can appreciate, absorb, and then walk through life with them, right? And I was thinking about this before. One of the conversations we had in one of the other podcasts was you were contemplating writing like a book based in like the medical format. You had done 2 or 3 like long form videos, I'm sure, based in like the medical side and all that kind of stuff. And you were like, we were talking that if you were to maybe take the manuscript but kind of shape it in a way for each one of those episodes that each one was a chapter, you're a third of the way there to making a book. And that's what I was wondering. I was like, did you do any? Are you doing any form of that kind of shit? Because that's an exciting thing that would fit.
Yes, I started outlining a book. Basically, what I was going to do to kind of cheat in a way was look to combine it with like a cultural dictionary, and through referencing, which would be like hosted at the back of the book, set definitions for terms. Like, set out a clear defined, this word means exactly this. Here is the root origin. Here is the etymology. Here is its academic use. Its scholastic use historically, and its legalese definition, etc. So that then breaking down that argument, whether it be like the medical con or whatever, that would more become a chapter within the book, and it would basically be. Because if I look at all of the work that I've done for Weed World, all of the content, ironically, I didn't realize I was wearing that day, for I Smoke back in the day, and for other outlets, I've touched on topics each that would cover the chapters of the book, and it would basically be like the chronology, so like the history of cannabis, sort of then through prohibition, through then sort of the science and applications, and then sort of postulating on what I believe to be the best potential model, again referenced by historic examples, and then there'd be obviously some ideology of my own within that, of just I suppose the libertarian argument of it, of just it shouldn't ever be restricted in that way. It can't be, firstly, lawfully under the nature of the law as we know it. That's why we have to bastardize it and butcher the language in order to, criminalize people under the law as it stands. But to be honest, the last January, when I got that letter from the council, that just kickstarted a whole series of events. And I think at the last count, we're 110 correspondents through 4 different departments. I've currently got 5 FOIs in an SAR, so a freedom of information request, subject access request, a formal complaint. They've just refused our asset of community value claim, so I'm about to appeal that. So I've just been caught up in the weaponization of bureaucracy against me to, exclude HGCA, the Hemp Garden Community Association, and myself from the process. And that has just taken up so much fucking time in my life. Like, I was doing the podcast at the start of last year. I think it was April. I stopped, and then I was trying to get back at it in July, and then literally I recorded an episode with Mike Wise, and the council tried to fucking install that gym, and we had to run a campaign to block them destroying the park to install an outdoor gym. And now they're running through a sale of half of the site in half, and they're now trying to sell like half of that to the open market. It's just been a whole thing. I do want to get back to writing, because ironically in this process I've quite enjoyed some of it. Like, I put together a legal brief. There was like nearly 10,000, or a dissertation. It was like 9,000 some 100 words. The whole chronology of events, highlighting the maladministration by the council, their predetermination in deciding what to do with the asset, their exclusion of us, the misrepresentation of the situation, all of these kind of faults and actions, cross-reference them to legislation, to acts and statutes, put precedents and case law in there, and it felt good to build that thing out. And even like the complaint letter, that was like 5,000 words again, of just like, whoa, really getting into it, being like, just, do you know what I mean? Enjoying the process. Partly because I'm like, yeah, fuck you, you've got to go read this on the other side and pass it to a legal department and understand. Because I retorted in their language. They structured it in just bollocks, bureaucratic legalese that you read it one way as a colloquial language, as a dictatorial dictionary language. You go, oh, it means this. But then you put their glasses on, you go, oh, fuck me, that's what it says. And so just letting them know that I know how to read that, and responding to them and going back and forth with them has been a ball ache, but it's kept my skills handy with the keyboard. So hopefully over the next sort of month or so, we should get an outcome from one of the 3 pathways that we've undertaken. I can't go into detail on what they are currently, on the record at least. But we're quietly optimistic that we're going to get a decent outcome. And then, like I said, hopefully from that, once the business starts up and trading, the cafe, it's something that, again, like you were saying about envisioning the clapping and the cheering, I've got this nostalgic, quite romanticized image of a rainy day down the cafe, and there's only a couple of customers an hour because it's, a crap Wednesday, and I got the laptop. And I'm sat in a comfy chair, sipping me coffee. Do you know what I mean? And just tapping away at it. And it's not so, I don't have the time to give it the time that it needs to just go here, boom, dedicate, start, end. But like you say, something I can chip away at.
You should definitely chip away at. You should fucking drive towards that, man, if possible. I mean, that's like,
it's something we do.
A cafe sitting there, no?
No, it's wish we pauses and talk off the record. So it's a derelict building, a former toilet block that is being licensed to be converted into a cafe. Kind of one way or another, it's going to be basically. And so we're just trying to acquire, obviously, the lawful right to the building. We've got an investor to flip it and to do all of the work and to work with us. We just basically need the council to get out of our way. Obviously, the other thing is I'm taking them to county court. I'm trying to get a judgment against them for violations of the Equality Act, because they've failed to make reasonable adjustments, and they have basically taken my request for reasonable adjustments and done the exact opposite. Like intentionally, like provably through that chronology of their correspondence, showing, like I said, that malice, that maladministration, that deliberately, using communications in a malicious way. But yeah, like I said, it is. I'm now having to do a bit less paperwork, so sitting in this office doesn't feel as much like I'm at war with the council. But it has worked up my fingers pretty good, so I think I might revisit it. I always feel inspired when we talk to produce more, because the body of work that you produce and your commitment to it, you make that decision to yourself and you get it done. I think my particular flavor of ADHD means that I only get stimulated like a third of the way into a project, and then as I hit that wall, I'm like, oh, that other thing starts looking real attractive right now. And then jump into that for a year, and then literally my brain, almost like I was saying before when I started editing these episodes again, I sat down on Premiere Pro and I went, I don't know what I'm doing, and really had to open like a previous edit, look at that and go, oh yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
I love that. That's brilliant.
I'm a bit mindful of the time. I know we wanted to keep this a bit shorter, but there is a question that I did want to ask you, because I brought it up last week, with Ross from the Entourage Effect, and news has subsequently moved on since. So I don't like the fact that the CEO from now defunct company Brewdog, Martin Dickey, is the CEO of a company called Waterside Pharmaceuticals up in Scotland, a prescription cannabis consumption company. There's allegations that he effectively took 20 million quid out of Brewdog and put it into this Waterside Pharmaceuticals. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on like the irony of a capitalist kind of bougie dude doing what they're going to do anyway, but it highlighting so eloquently what is happening around the world. I think the global alcohol industry is down, I can't quote that, I was going to say 800 billion. That doesn't feel that, though maybe that could be right. I'm sure I saw 800 billion somewhere, but yeah, it's down a stupid amount. So yeah,
that's just fucking capitalist play. That's like, I mean, Scotland is not, I fucking love Scotland, but you know, the thing that broke my spirit a wee bit was watching the Donald Trump documentary on Netflix about he was building his fucking golf course in Aberdeen, and he needed specific pieces of land, and he was trying to and there's farmers that had lived there for generations. Wee old woman as well, and one of them, and he was like trying to buy them out, but they refused to because it was their family home and it had been for generations. So now it's you're all right, mate. And so it just made their life extremely difficult. And what happened was one of the times that the farmer guy was coming down the road, and police just pulled up, and they're just harassing him and bullying him, and I think they threw him in the back of the motor, all that kind of stuff. And it was so apparent that this guy is motivated based on somebody telling him. And then somebody telling him. So it's just like a corporate drone, and it was just like, I think the first time I seen that, I don't know, maybe was I like 16, 17, something like that, I don't know. But I was younger anyway. And it was in that moment where I was just like, Scotland's fucked, man. Like, the scenery's beautiful, and the people are like, like everywhere, you get assholes everywhere, you get good people everywhere and that kind of thing. But like that stereotype of, that's relatively accurate, but we're not out with the fucking bracket of money hungry. I mean, Scotland are like, they have their fingerprint on the slave trade. That's like, there's so many people. I was working for a garden company a few years ago, and we'd be working on some houses, like doing their fucking garden and stuff like that. These massive fucking mansions, but it's like a massive cottage, but it's a mansion just because it's the architecture and stuff. And you'd be able to tell that this would have been slave trade money and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I'm saying that is because arguably capitalism was boosted largely as a consequence of that free labor. So I think it's not any different. You've got the same capitalist network over here. This is a global issue. This is a global issue, and there's very, very few areas that I think the only areas that won't be attached to that spider web are areas that have no economic value. That'll be it. But apart from that, everywhere there's a fucking hand over the planet, it feels like. That's why, actually, if I'm being brutally honest, and it's ironic considering we're talking on it and stuff like that, and we use it every day. But the internet, It feels fucking like, it feels alien as fuck. It's a really weird, like, consciousness penetrating thing that we're walking towards. Like, it's really, like, we're not very many stages away from completely stealing the spirit. That's what it feels like. Like, it's, and then it sounds silly, but I mean, it's just like VR headsets and stuff like that. They're fucking clinical. You know, it's like they're walking slowly towards an audio sensory complete experience on the surface, through like VR stuff and blah, blah, blah. They're also doing it metaphysically on a psychological basis with content that's consumed. You know, the thing that you watch, and that's what takes me back to the fucking files earlier on, is like, and it's the same thing with like when 9/11 happened, and then they've put that on every single screen on the fucking, in the world forever. You know, every traumatic event, they repeat it ad nauseum constantly, you know, and it's so that it gets ingrained in your psyche. You're walking about with it on like a subconscious fucking level. So there's like, that's very close to saying that there's spiritual warfare, saying that network, and then you put this internet fucking thing on top of it. Because that's the reason I'm saying this as well. It's like, as lots of people watching this would be the same, but as the years move forward, less and less people will be included in this. Is that I remember what it was like without the internet. Like, I remember the feeling of what it was like. So when we first got the computer and all that kind of thing, it was like, I was like 12 or something, or 13. So I remember the feeling of like this I don't know, it was like a freer fucking air feeling of like you weren't. It sounds silly, right? But the best way to describe this is like, when I sit and watch Netflix, it feels like there's a wee fucking red light on the top of the fucking house that's on, like on the global network. That's what it feels like. But if I sit and watch a DVD, it doesn't feel like that's active. You know, you turn the Wi-Fi off, and if you watch Netflix and then turn the Wi-Fi off and just watch a DVD, it feels different. You know, and I think it's, and I can't explain it because there should be no reason it feels different.
It's because we've passed a tipping point. Again, I think me and Ross kind of spoke of this yesterday. That's kind of what I was alluding to before with the dark path it turned when I was on about the phone of. It's not real and I got on a rant about this last week about MySpace and MSN and all sorts of shit, so I'm not going to repeat that too much. But when the internet first came around, it was an extension, it was an add-on, and it was fixed. You went home, the phone wasn't allowed to fucking ring. You went to it screamed at you, and you know what the fuck, and you couldn't really get good pictures or good video. So the things that you went for were more useful, and the initial wave of the internet was quite nerdy and was quite people that were quite neurodivergent. It was about specific subjects. So it was a guy going, I've spent 30 years studying Beatles and I built this website so you can learn about Beatles. Like, it was that kind of shit, and it was authentic and real, and the advertising was hidden away and they couldn't monetize it. The early doors of like the Web 1.0, they didn't have a fucking clue. Web 2.0 and the .com bubble and all of that shit, and like pets.com being like worth £1 trillion or whatever the fuck it was before it went bust, and all of that fight. That was the add-on, because it was, I can go to the high street and I've got all these things, but if I wanted this really niche, very specific thing from fucking China, I go to the online middleman. And then the middleman came to replace, because his costs were lower. You could have a warehouse elsewhere, and it was the Argosification. It was kind of the high street, but via digitalization, which ironically is what Argos didn't do, which is why they fell flat on their fucking arse. And so it went from being an extension of reality to now being reality. You can watch in 4K shit like this, and you're fucking your eyes enough that when you actually look at the real world, this looks better. Like, the quality is better. That's before we go into, like you said, the wearable tech and everything else. And the feeling of expression on the internet initially was authentic, and it was vulnerable. You went, access MySpace rant from last week, you could program your page, you could put bits out, you expressed yourself as authentically as you could. And then over time, because it became an incentive, a financial incentive, a social incentive, a cultural incentive to manipulate, misrepresent who you are online, and the value that was then ascribed to you as a person for your fake self online became more than the value of your real self offline. And so over time, society comes to value online. No offense to any women that are like this, but I'm thinking of the women going with curlers and like pajamas and stuff, like into a supermarket, and every selfie is manicured to fuck on their social media. Like they've just got this is what I believe to be my every perfect image and shot, and I've cultivated this image, and then I don't care about, I'm not having a go at the parents. People have the right to dress how they want, but I'm just using it sort of as an example of the juxtaposition, and that people now, the avatar is the real character. This is the loading space for this. This is the background set for that. This is where we produce content. You see it within like real life streamers and that. You saw it with prank videos and all of this kind of shit, where the value in getting virality, in getting famous identity responses online came to mean more to us than offline, because I think it's hacking the neurohormones. So in real life, to get that connection with the person, I've got to get up, get ready, get cleaned up, get dressed. Oh shit, the bus, got to make sure I get to the bus. Oh, do you actually get into this place at the right, and all the coordinates, and you meet the person. And yeah, granted, being in a physical space, so much more valuable, but all of the other shit that you have to do to get that can be draining. And if, like I said, you're at home like this, like 7-8 hours a day, and you rarely go out, the idea of going out after a while becomes quite daunting, becomes quite difficult. You then seeing online another stabbing, another murder. Oh my god, a car blew up yesterday outside. Like it, like I said, it rewires you. And so then wanting to go to that third space and have that interaction with that person that would mean more, but comes at a consequence of having not very fun experiences, but in doing that gives you the thing that means more. We lose the third spaces. We've lost the pubs, the nightclubs, the libraries, the parks. Like, they're removing benches and bins and infrastructure, and the whole idea of like hostile architecture. We're becoming America with the idea of loitering, which is effectively being in public spaces without spending money. Like, they don't want us outside connecting, because we can just sat together. Even when you sat together on fubbing on your phones, there's still something that's feeding. Even if this is rewiring, that's grounding. Being amongst people is grounding. But if you spend all day with your headphones in and all day on the screen, if you have to be outside with the headphones off, you've damaged the way that you interpret sound, you interpret light. Like the whole thing with like LED street lights. Again, I don't want to repeat what I went on last week, but the whole infrastructure is hostile to us. It's against the inclinations of our biology, and the consequence of this is that we just become passive little sexless, little joyless, little connectionless avatars online, pretending we're living good lives while just shipping whatever the hell we need to us. Or give me more Ozempic, more antidepressants, more fucking this magic supplement, more of that thing, but the next fad, the next this, the next that. And we're just sat on these mountains of shit with this hollowness inside that can only be quenched through real connection, through real conversations, through being vulnerable and honest. And I think that's what art is. That's somebody that, yes, they have the connections of people around, but there's still something else that doesn't satiate that thing. And when they pursue whatever it is that they're doing, they can feel it, a little bit of relief, a little bit of like satiation, a little bit of just the pain stops in a way. That's what I was kind of alluding to before. And I think we're all in pain. This is what I was saying about everybody's suffering, and we're not all creative. So I don't know how the people that don't have art to produce feed themselves spiritually, like you were saying. So the consequence of that on a long enough timeline, they don't. And we just become devoid, and art is whatever can go viral. The artist then puts their creative pursuit into the capitalist machine, into the advertising machine. But then AI is coming along, and the mass market goes, well, all right, I can use that now, so I'll accept. And the more it's used, the more acceptable it becomes. And then people put real art next to it and go, "Oh, AI is better. Look, it's smoother, and it's uniformed. It's because they've been trained into this idea of that's now what art looks like. That's what branding looks like. That's what good XYZ looks like."
That's what makes me think it feels like a fucking like an alien entity, because it's like, if you think about what creativity is. Specifically, for focus on creativity as one of these elements of it, you know, creativity is like as close to magic as you'll get. That's what it's like, and it's an expression of the human. The amount of energies we give off just sitting just in a fucking chair, it's, you know, we're like batteries in that way. You know, it's like we emit fucking energy constantly, measurable energy as well. So it's like, it's just interesting that this like progressive development of technology is getting to such an extent where it's it can and likely will steal the essence of what a human is. You know, like that's a really bizarre fucking, you know, it's like building your own coffin almost as a species. Because in my mind I think to myself, like, hypothetically, like, it isn't some alien intervention or some crazy secret fucking esoteric events that have led us to this hyper technological place, right? If it's not that, then it's just a slow progressive normal evolution from the light bulb before that, from the wheel and shit like that, steadily just navigating all the way through. And we've got to such an extent where we've built, our technology's got to such an extent where we're stealing our own fucking thoughts. Because that's what, I mean, trying to have a clear thought properly if you've spent 8 or 9 hours on VR with it strapped to your fucking head, you know.
I can't do it after a few hours of scrolling. Like I can sit there and then just have, they're not ideas. Normally then I'll shut off on an evening or whatever, but if I've been heavy scrolling, when I then go into what would normally be standby mode, where I can kind of like go, and let the other thoughts that I've accumulated over the day come in, and you kind of filter them out and you work out shit and you go, oh shit, yeah, I'll sort the milk out tomorrow or whatever. I'm just almost like seeing the screen. And my brain is having to play catch up almost with the content and just adding it. And it's like, why have I done this? What benefit did I get? And it's the slot machine. And I think I brought this up the other day as well. Of like, somebody needs to do a study on whether we've hacked our bodies enough that pretending to scroll is having a neurophysical response. Like, do we get, like, do you know what I mean? Like, because
I like that.
I feel it doesn't matter anymore what I'm looking at half the time. I'll go on because I've got a notification. I'll get the dopamine because I've had my notification. I've done, that person, that's cool. Like, I'll press back to go home onto the app, and then it just engages. And even if I'm not really looking at any one thing, you'll maybe hover for a second just to clarify, it's not what I thought it was. Boom, boom, boom. And there's still the thing happening, but there's no value or use come from it. Yeah. I feel dumber for it, but my body's like, really nice. Oh.
Do you know what's also interesting? Yeah, of course. I mean, and I think, I wonder how much, and this is just for my own, like, there's a feeling of importance. Like, I'm important because I have my phone. Like, that's just, if I'm being honest, like, yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm connected. I've got 3 friends on Facebook. Yes, they're like me, my mum, and my dad. You know, is that? So it's just, I don't know. There's a lot to be said for phones and the internet, and how much it's like this, you know, this fucking real destructive. Like, it's obviously positive. It's just such a penetrative force. That's what it's like on every element possible. It's really all encompassing. And I think when you hear like CEOs of major companies, technological companies, talking about, by 2030 the technology is going to be inside of our body and all this kind of stuff, it's like, okay, like, so what does the end of the 21st century look like? Like, if by 2030 we're like hooked up biologically, and I know these things are happening like around the world at times. I know that there's like little pockets, but it's not like a consensus now. It's not now part of the culture where everybody's got their new phone, their new upgrade. It's not at that level. Inevitably it will be, by the looks of it. So it's like we're hitting 2030 in a few years. So it's like, what does the end look like? Because it looks like it's fucking going to be Star Trek or something.
Star Trek is predicated on the idea that there is an event, first contact, that unites humanity, and we go, oh fuck, there's an out there. And then, granted, maybe part of it, which is not explained in the lore of Star Trek, but I imagine shortly thereafter, the prejudice united. It wasn't that they suddenly went and became altruistic. They went, a bad guy out there.
Yeah.
Good guys? You know, they became a new out-group, and then over time through the Federation and the rest of the lore of the whole thing of it. And yeah, the technology comes from their openness with other species, their openness with other cultures that allows them access to these things. It's an allegory of, obviously, if we work together on Earth, we could literally go out into space.
In fact, do you know what it'll probably be like? I was thinking about this before when my son was playing it. It'll be like Sleeping Dogs. You familiar with that game?
I think I vaguely remember
Cyberpunk,
the TV advert where you can hack stuff with the thing. You could hack like
or something. Yeah, you can get to people's it's like personality templates or profiles or something like that, with like whether like watches or their phone or some shit like that. But it's like that. It's like Sleeping Dogs or Cyberpunk. It would be like a mix between those two, because when you see them, like being played and stuff like that, and the worlds they've created, you know, it's you could potentially see a half dozen steps and then you're at one of them. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's closer than we think.
Yeah, God, yeah. I think it's probably going to be two-tiered. More like, did you see that Matt Damon one, Elysium?
No.
Where the rich live in this, like, space center, but it's like idyllic. They've got a false gravity and water and grass and gardens, and they have this machine. Like, what was the conspiracy the other year? Like, I think they called it like a med bed, and you basically get in it, cures all ailments. And like, without too many spoilers, like Matt Damon's trying to get off Earth to get onto this, and on Earth is like the aesthetics very much. Do you see District 9?
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of that, like, yeah, it's kind of like the cyberpunky some tech, but society's just refugee camp, because obviously all the resources got put upstairs to what they need. And I think that's what we're seeing. If you look at where is the investment going, AI and everything else, is this what they tell us that it's there for is not what it's there for. They're going, oh yeah, you can make pictures with Studio Ghibli and yourself, and oh, do this and do. Their goals are way up there, and I think what they want is a digital panopticon that polices Earth, and that they do want this post-human shit. They are trying to go, oh, can we regenerate cells and regenerate every part of it? You think that's going to be for universal healthcare? No, they're heading towards that fucking medbed. Do you know what I mean? They're going, oh, we can download consciousness because we passed the singularity. Do you think they're going to put you in a machine and let you live forever? No, it's going to be fucking Elon and his mates. Like, it's everything, all of the industries at the pinnacle, their research, their development with the biggest of books, all of it is going towards tech that in one direction, through global socialism, just terrified the world there, we can all have access to this technology. It could be ubiquitous. Or there's the small percentage of them that then, yeah, we get to live forever. And it's, imagine if the robber barons didn't die. Like, what if Rockefeller didn't die? Like, he just got richer and richer and couldn't be challenged. And that's where I see sort of them going. But I think hopefully enough, through almost like hyperinflation and everything else, their numbers will just become meaningless. And I think that's why there was such a global commitment toward blockchain and the idea of cryptocurrencies. Obviously, a lot of people are getting a bit tetchy now that, you know, Epstein and other individuals are looking like fingerprints are on various things. I mean, obviously, we've known for quite a long time the CIA have had involvement in cryptocurrencies, and obviously the Americans seized what was at the time one of the largest wallets when they took down Silk Road, and nobody really knows where that money's fucking around with. And I mean, they had fingerprints in things like Facebook and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Like the investment firms that are fronted as venture capital, but are paid for by state intelligence services. It's crazy. We're sold these things to liberate us, and at first it does. It's novel and it's exciting, and we can do this with it, we can do that. And in the background, they're just getting, you know, that shroud comes over you, and all of a sudden you're locked to it, and like being away from it feels like a loss. Like you said, just like, oh, I'm not important. Why? Because I'm watching DVD. Like I said, that feeling. A lot of people are going back to physical media. We keep going through waves with it, but holding something, having something. I mean, I currently, my obsession for the past 10 years has been buying books, secondhand books. I don't buy new books. I read what secondhand books I can get a hold of, and I've got 400 bucks or something in that other room, and that feels important to have, because I know that I'll protect them at least as long as I am alive. You know what I mean? The charity shop might, oh, it's been on the shelf 6 months, chuck it in the bin, there's another one gone. Like this whole thing of like lost media, things that went from VHS and never got a DVD that won't go to Blu-ray that won't go to whatever the hell's next, like, on streaming service that isn't available. Like, they get to censor known knowledge, not through direct malicious means or what seems like obviously malicious. They just go, oh, it's not available. Pay an extra tenner, you can get access to it. And so then it just becomes this thing of, like it was back in antiquity, of like access to the classics and to high arts and fine arts became you couldn't get to it. The concept of a library and lower people even being literate. And I feel like that's what they want in culture and art. There'll be their shit, like all of our spaces for cinemas and things like that is closing down, but your posh theatres fucking thriving.
Yeah.
trying to see what are the questions I've got here. I'll ask you the same question that I asked Ross, and then we'll kind of sort of wrap it up with the final kind of cliched question. Do you think that in independent Scotland would be more pro or anti sort of decriminalisation, legalisation, a more progressive attitude? Because I could see Scotland going independent, and then BBC Scotland or whatever being a lot more interested in giving you a platform. You know what I mean? Of it. It being accepted rather than it being sort of little old Westminster being like, you don't do your shit up there.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's that thing where anytime you think of independence, you assume that it would be better. You hope that it would be better. And I think if it was to be authentic, like, and it was to be like, if the people of Scotland were to be listened to properly, it would be 100% decriminalised, you know, and access would be more readily available and all these kind of things. Scotland's relatively like liberal-minded people. That's what it is. It's kind of like that's. I don't know. It's you don't really. Like I said, you get some arseholes, but generally speaking, most people are like, fuck it, you know, like live your life kind of thing. That tends to be the general attitude, as you find in lots of places. You know, there'll be loads of places fucking down south as well, man. It's exactly the same. And you have other places, like there's places in Scotland that won't be so acceptance and like fucking tolerant and all that kind of stuff. That's just how it goes. But generally speaking, if it was to be independent, I mean, you'd always want to be the creator of your own demise instead of it being somebody else, you know. So if your fucking ship sinks, it was your own fault, dickhead. It was your ship, you know. So I think just being given the opportunity to allow your ship to sink is the minimum you should expect. So I would definitely obviously go for that.
I can see there almost be in my head. There was like, is it Lenny? Is this the Scottish dude?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Lemmy.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. But he does the thing where he's the cops, and what my brain went to there was them as cops basically arresting a dude for smoking a joint post-independence, and the guy being proud because it was like independent Scottish police that arrested him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I do hope. Honestly, I mean, I see the SNP have had its issues, and a lot of them get blown up by, you know, Westminster and English-centric media because it's when they're pro-union. They need to be, because if little old England has to survive by itself.
I'll be honest. Simply, I believe I'm probably a pessimist when it comes to any form of political thing and all that kind of thing. Like the notion of like, "Way Scottish freedom" is fucking like it's a very small hope that's no real. It's fucking fake. We're under the same corporate umbrella politically. I think if you're lucky on the local and regional levels of politics, you'll get authenticity and you'll get fucking like planning permission change, and you'll get fucking this like community boost change, and you'll get those kind of incremental changes locally. On a national level, we're tied to the same fucking oligarchy of power and corporate money and all that kind of shit.
It's breaking down at the minute. Again, without going over the same ground I've kind of gone in recent episodes, the by-election in Manchester is looking like the first two parties are going to be Reform and Greens. Like, Conservatives and Labour are fucked. That has been the two-party system for forever. The monarchy, less than I think it's 46%. To clarify, actually, while I'm on about numbers, it was they've lost 830 billion according to Bloomberg. Last year, 830 billion in profits was wiped off the alcohol industry around the world. 46%, I think, at the last poll that I looked at, support the monarchy. Less than 50%. It's sliding fast with everything that's coming out about Andrew, Fergie, and all the fucking rest of them. Charlie Boy has obviously got cancer. Probably not going to be around all that long. Succession ain't looking good for William and whatnot. We might end up potentially within our lives the dissolution of the monarchy. If we lose the monarchy, you lose the kind of romanticized idea of what the union represents. If you lose that figurehead, that godlike deity that they can, manifest all their goodwill and Britannia and all of that shit towards, I think they're going to struggle politically to hold it together, even as like the unionist parties, because the strongest things that prevented independence last time was Labour. effectively. And if Labour and Tories in there as the two largest unionist parties, you know, Plaid Cymru are flying ahead right fucking now, and with everything else that keeps happening, they're just continuing that trajectory. Ireland in the past goddamn 10 years has been stunning to watch both sides of the border in terms of the progression and the movements and the attitudes towards eventual reunification. So I think it's kind of inevitable that Great Britain and, you know, the United Kingdom, or as overall, so Great Britain being the three of the Isles, Scotland, Wales, England, and the United Kingdom, including the north of Ireland, will dissolve. If we're smart, we'll create an economic union. We'll work our way out of it. We won't go no fucking deal Brexit style. We'll actually go, shit, these guys are going to be demanding their shit. They're going to have a mandate. You know, you have the experience in the creation of both houses, both devolved parliamentary houses, to be able to run this shit. And like I said, it's going to be Little England, and it'll be the City of London, and that's the only thing that makes money in this fucking country. And we will eat them alive. We will absolutely eat them a fucking alive. And it'll be all the border spaces that'll be wanting, you know, decent trade deals. But if there's suddenly a hard border in Wales and a hard border in Scotland, like, that's mental. Do you know what I mean? Because Scotland and Wales would definitely be invited into the European Union on a free basis. They wouldn't be held prejudice against what Westminster did. And a unified Ireland, the north of Ireland, would automatically go into Europe and have that access to all those markets. And again, there'd be Little England with no fucking trade deals and no infrastructure, because you guys got all the gas, they got all the fucking minerals. You know, these guys have got the potential to join the tax haven that is Ireland. You know, the Channel Islands themselves are a land unto themselves in terms of monetary systems. So I think we need some progressive politics, some politicians, some forward-facing people, and I think they can rise through the local ranks, as long as they're not being handicapped by the apparatus of the parties. And like I said, if Labour and the Tories, the old gatekeepers, are not there, Lib Dems are the Limp Dems for a reason. They do fuck all. They're just there to fucking, for middle-of-the-road people to go, oh, I've participated in the system and I'm a bit this way or a bit that way, but we'll take that. But I think the rise of the Green Party under Zach Belansky is something to behold in terms of a unifying left-of-centre movement. It may not be as radical as myself or others would want, but progressive politics can be useful in some way. If you look at it in the long arc of history, it is always... I'm not seeing that's what I'm doing there. I'm putting the arc of history there, people, the curve, the arc of history towards justice, towards liberation. You will obviously have those blips of fascism, totalitarian, authoritarianism, but the power is in the people. Like is written in 1984 for Orwell's Orwell. Like the power is in the proletariat, always will be. And
I'm glad you're optimistic, man. That's good. It's inspiring, because
I'm forever optimistic. You just got to listen to me long enough.
I think I'm pessimistic in this context. I don't have much faith. I'm probably an example of one of those people that's their spirit's been broken as a consequence of the information overload. I think that's probably what's happened. The notion of we can make any change. It's like,
I don't think the drops
change doesn't happen. It's just it just evolves.
Yeah, I don't think the drops know they're a wave. I don't think they're meant to. I don't think it could know, and nor should it. That all of it. This is what I meant by doing something. You are creating motion. We're automatically moving that fucking way, and like we said about arcing towards justice, as long as you are trying to move, you'll move, and you'll be part of that thing. And the drops become a stream, and follow your water analogy all the way through the ocean. And then through that you have the power to erode through time. You know what I mean?
I love that, man. I hope that's the case.
I truly believe it is. Like we say after we have these conversations, we inspire each other. So if nothing else, us sitting doing this, we're inspiring each other. The 100+ people that came to the premiere, the couple of 100+ that are going to come at the next one, because we're going to get you a hell of a fucking press packet released. Yeah. I'm gonna get Leafy in Weed World. I'll write something for Weed World, and I'll fucking kick Liam and Kevin, and they'll give you some coverage through Leafy and that, and we'll put as many eyes on it as possible, because it's that incremental growth. You know what I mean? It's like I said, the only things that then truly go from nothing to 10 billion bajillions is it's after the fact. The dude's long dead. Like, you don't get to feel it. You don't get to experience the destination, but you get to decide if you enjoy the journey. And I think Yeah, I think part of it is like we spoke about when you rang us up the other week or the other month, whenever it was. And I was saying that because of the nature of the art that you're creating right now, you're living it. You live your art. You're doing the Donny movie. What is the Donny movie? What is it you're talking? Do you know what I mean? You can't help but be it. It's authentic. It's real. If you were then going la 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 and then getting into it wouldn't translate. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
No,
Man,
it's real.
Yeah, it's embodied. Like that's one of the things where it's yeah, like when yeah, it's very obvious that that's the like Cannaman and Donny are the two different sides of my personality, and that's very real. You know, like that's why I kind of like it when people laugh and they like Donny. And they're like, oh, he's like Donny seems to be people's favourites, and that by all means, intents and purposes, is my worst form of characteristics. You know, that's like the things that I think to my mind of, like, you know, the things that's just Donny embodies that side in the same sense in which Cannaman is like all forward thinking and rational and balanced and tries to incorporate pragmatic moves forward, you know, in alignment, all super ego stuff. I also have that form of personality, and I don't know if it's just the Cancer thing or whatever for the fucking star sign, but it's like, I don't know, it's very yin and yang forms and inside of me kind of thing, you know, and it's just cool that it's very infrequent that somebody would get the opportunity to embody both of those forms of their person. And that's what I like. That's why I like when I said, I can't remember what it was, I think maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe, about how a lot of this stuff, you should just create this stuff so you create a cool story for your own life. Like, you know, just make your life a cool fucking story. Make it that when you're not here, there's lore. You know, like, that's some cool shit. Like, do that. Like, be somebody, and you can do it with anything. You can do it as you're the person that built your house by hand. You know, that's fucking cool as fuck. Or you're the person that, I don't know, like, rebuilt a fucking car engine. Or you're the person that, like, I don't know, like, name the output. And then times it by 10, and now you've got lore. That's essentially what it's like, you know. And I think just be that person. Make it that you're fucking, you know, you're doing some cool shit in life, and then because it's that balance thing. That's your euphoric, positive, uplifting moment when you get to make the thing that gives you meaning. And the thing, inevitably, there has to be, because it's only chaos and order in this world, there has to be a counterbalance to that. And the counterbalance is the fucking, you've got to go and fucking pan your face in, working and shit like that, and doing things that you don't find enjoyable to then supplement this thing, you know. So yeah, it's just that's all. It's just like make some fucking cool shit and make it you've got a cool story, and be authentic to yourself. Because when you're actually doing it, that's one of the things that I noticed when I look back on some of the old work I've done. It's like looking back on a photo of myself. That's what it's like, you know. It's like because there was an emotional state as I produced this thing, and it's like a reminder.
Tap into that. Your brain goes down that pathway when you were looking at that image when you were making it, and it suddenly can see all of the other things around it. You can see all the other emotions, and you can feel the experiences you were having. You could have the self-doubt that was going on, or it was really good time with that person in the relationship at the time, or, you know, every single one. It's like a diary entry. That's what it's like. Every piece of work that you've done is like a diary entry, and that's what's kind of cool about it is if you could if you just pursue it, all your days, you have like tons of fucking evidence of your own life that means more to you than anybody else. So it's mainly about your fucking experience of the thing. It's your life, so that's where it should be.
Exactly. You know, just as long as when you're doing the thing, you don't become self-absorbed, you know, arrogant, egotistical, and that kind of thing, and you forget about people that took you to where you're going. Because the other thing as well is like the best thing is, it sounds silly, but the archetype of like Jesus and those kind of characters are all about serving others. That's what it's about. It's like you become essentially, you embody the best characteristics of yourself in order to nurture your local environment. That's what it's all about. So you've got to be somebody of integrity and on strong character and stuff like that, and embody characteristics which display that. Because it's one thing to just say, "Oh, I'm somebody with integrity and character," but your behaviour and your actions don't replicate that. It's like it's what do they say? It's like it's not what you say, it's what you do, and that's what it is. You know. So yeah, that's that's the best thing that I'm taking from this, and that's why this year I'm excited about this year, because let's say I'm going to put more effort into the Cannaman podcast, get some really good guests on, learn a lot hopefully from it, you know, because it's with every cool guest you get on, you're like, fucking hell, you get some good information from them, and then it's changed you as a person, like, and that's what's cool about it, is, you know, it's just, it genuinely does. That's why it's good to get out of the circle of like your day-to-day life, because then you're in a wee echo chamber of familiarity, whereas you speak to people at different parts of the world, it's, you know, it's much more enlightening for you. So do that. The Donny movie, get that fucking polished up and finished, and I'm really hoping that something exciting happens when the Donny movie's complete, finished, and people start to experience it, because that is the main thing, that they're going to feel and experience. Like, this has been way more creatively focused on an experience than the aesthetic kind of thing, which sounds silly, but
No, I get what you're saying. I think that you described it before of when you were sat in sort of the theatre and you had that kind of realization that you were modulating, you know, the neurochemistry of the audience. And you sort of described it as, oh, I'm making them laugh and that makes me feel good. I think there's something even more simplistic to it, in that if they're laughing, then that laughter is joy. Joy is not sadness. That's good in the world. It's that connection of it's the most sincere form of, or the closest thing to altruism I think any of us can experience, is doing something for another. And in that creative, that's the perfect form, because you get something from it, you give something to somebody else, and in them enjoying it, you get something else from it. And I think the process that you went through with Cannaman in comparison to Donny, I sincerely believe that when you're sat again in that theatre at the premiere, you'll have a similar sort of realization and feeling, and it'll kind of not close the book, but you'll kind of just wake up a day or two after. Do you know what I mean? And you'll yeah, you know, because I think the audience response, that it won't be necessarily the same laughter and the same whatever, because of the nature of what it is, but it's rawer. Cannaman, like you said, was the stereotype. It's easy. That's information that's surface level in a way that you can draw from. Donny is rawer, is real. I'm not calling you immature, but like, it's putting the little boy in us, or the little child in us forward in that vulnerable, because like you said, when people respond to Donny positively, you're like, well, I feel that's the worst part of me. This movie, you're basically saying, this is the worst part of me. You're going to experience this thing, and in order for you to make that authentic, you've had to live this. And I think at the culmination and the end of that, there'll be that's the hope. That's the thing you'll find. You'll know what to do next, because you'll have completed the thing you were meant to be doing now. Do you know what I mean? And again, if you can do it, as we all do, you look back on your own shit and it all makes sense in retrospect, and then you turn around and look the other way and go, I have no fucking idea. But you'll turn around in 2 years and go, oh, of course. Like, it does. And I think that's the journey you're on, and it is an interesting like juxtaposition, this episode and last episode, even with the darkness of the setting of where you're sat now. And
oh yeah, that's right.
You feel it in your mood and that, and it's beautiful that you feel capable, confident, and vulnerable enough to do that, and to articulate to people that this is what you're doing. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think the catharsis at the end of this, honestly, I can't wait to get you a hug at the end of your premiere and to just see that joy on your face and the wash, you know, when the emotions, and because it's going to be real. It's going to be fucking real.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man, because honestly, you're right on the money with that. Like, you really are. It's there's a couple of parts in the Donny movie specifically that's him fighting with his own psyche, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like. There's a lot of hard shit in this film, but I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if it's just obviously it's that dark part of me, but it's good to express, you know, and it's done within the character of Donny and his sense of lust towards Cannaman, but the whole film is themed around family. That's the main thing. It's themed around family, and like all of us, there's been a significant amount of challenge with that fucking notion, you know, the notion of family and shit like that, and what's interesting is you're able to fucking channel it in such a way, like a musician writing their songs and all that kind of shit, you know. So it's just fun to do that, you know. And it's looking good. And let's say there's a couple of parts in it which is just, it was really fun to be able to create a context in which something I would have done like organically now, but you just kind of do the context. That's the main thing. It's like, I would behave that same way if that context was here, but you don't have the context. So you make it, and then you create a character that goes in it, and you make him behave the way that you would behave. And it feels good because you're like, now he's, you feel a connection. So I'm really looking forward to it, man, and it is definitely a lot fucking dark. I mean, even the poster for the Donny movie is dark. It's fucking, obviously. So this here is on the poster, and then I've got in the middle, fucking written right here, would be just Donny, and it's just a Conor Macleod film, and I'm looking forward to it. Like, it's going to be good, man. Definitely dark. Moments of levity, and it's quite cool to just think that Donny, as the secondary character, has now got his own fucking film, which is cool. So I'm looking forward to everybody seeing it. I'm looking forward to you coming up and watching it, man. And it's going to be good to kind of revisit this podcast once it's all done, and I'll be able to hear what you think of the film, and then we'll be able to actually discuss it in detail, because by that point I'll have fucking available for people to watch and stuff. So if anybody was to see it, like, it's spoilers, fucking go and watch it first,
Yeah, man. No, excellent. No, lush, like I say, same, can't wait, and we'll definitely make sure that it isn't another fucking 3 years. Like I said, we'll definitely get you on back at the end of the year. Keep me motivated. If you see I haven't posted an episode, fucking hit me up, and I'll give you a kick in likewise.
Good.
Because there is these, like you said, I think before, a key thing to take away. I know there's an audience there, hi audience, but these conversations are so meaningful. I feel I've changed so much as a person since the first episode I recorded. I know obviously years have passed, etc., but you put your best self forward authentically in this space to try and learn, to try and take the audience on this journey with you, of growth and of just learning new things. So always appreciate you taking the time, brother. I look forward to seeing a movie and having you back on. I suppose we'll wrap up. So where can people find the podcast? Where can people find sort of previous series of the CannamanTV, the Cannaman series, TV series?
Yeah, animation series,
etc.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can find the Cannaman podcast. Most of the work about I just find it on Instagram. It's just at Cannaman_TV1. And you can find all the content on YouTube, which is just CannamanTV. You'll be able to find all that. And if you just kind of scroll down, you'll be able to find the playlist that's got the animated series in it. That's got 12 episodes, feature-length episodes, so each one's about 8 minutes long. And then there's also, I think, 64 couch skits, animated couch skits, which are like each 1 or 2 minutes long as well. And alongside, I think there's 2 or 3 little features, like isolated animated films. There's one Hidden in Plain Sight. There's one Vita, which is all about, Greek for life, and that's all about what kind of conversation would you have with yourself if you were like 7-8-year-old boy to what you'd be like a fucking 70-80-year-old man. What would that conversation be like? You're the same person. If that wee boy knew that, all that kind of shit. That's the context. That was the philosophical theme that I put in that one. So that's Vita. So yeah, you can find all the stuff on Instagram and YouTube.
Where is your most ethical place to get your books?
Unfortunately on Amazon. So it's just if you go, you better find it on the links for.
I'll put some links below. I was just wondering where you'd prefer me to send people.
Yeah, no, please. Amazon's. It's the only format at the moment. Obviously, this is one of those things where having an agent and a publicist and all these different other things would be extremely helpful, because it's difficult to try and improve the craft that you're doing whilst working full time, obviously doing life stuff, and then trying to fucking do that as well and try and pitch and market and all that kind of stuff. So
100%.
but yeah, definitely find it on Amazon as well.
All right. Anything else you want to promote while you're here?
No, I just appreciate your time. Simple. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Nice. Like I say, man, fucking, I genuinely felt excited when I seen you going like, hey, I'm going to get back in the zone, all that kind of stuff of doing podcasts and stuff like that, because it is one of those things where like I had time on top of the graft. And then all of a sudden, now you're, and as you're mentioning earlier, part of the culture. And you see this all the time. But the thing that passes my mind often is like, in 5 years' time, there are going to be people that are providing entertainment of this kind of nature in 5 years' time. Like, somebody will be doing it, and then somebody they'll be making money from it. They'll be fucking like, this is their job, blah blah, doing all that kind of stuff. In 5 years' time, and we don't know their name yet. That's the main thing. It's just like there's going to be like #1 music artists in 5 years' time that like there'll be some of the fucking veterans, but there'll be new ones that are at this moment in time just working on themselves or in the dark. They're not being seen. And for anybody watching stuff like that, it's like you can be that thing with your thing. Like that's the whole point, is that there will be somebody filling the slot that if you just kept fucking going and doing it, you would be the person filling the slot. But that's the main thing. So just, build what's meaningful to you and fucking work on it, because somebody's going to be taking the spot. So why not? And I think one of those things there that passed on me earlier was, I was looking on when I first did my first podcast, and I was like, it's been fucking 5 years, man. And the reason why I've not done anything properly with it, and it's not became like financially sustainable or any of that kind of stuff, is because I've not taken it seriously. If you're doing something for 5 years and you've not fucking reached a place you thought you'd reach, you're doing something wrong, bro. And that's one of the things where it's like, I'm not looking for anything other than I want to just make it my job. That's it. I'll take 30 grand a year for CannamanTV as a production brand. I'll take that. And I'll keep that forever. Fucking inflation can go up and I'll stay with that. But I would take that, just because then that means I'm free. And that's my main thing. I just want to be fucking free. So that's the whole point, is that I think it's possible. All of us can be free. You just have to be sincere, focused, and don't expect the return at any point in time. You think it should be there by then, because you've not done this journey before. So you have no idea. You don't know if the thing that you're making is actually going to take 12, 13, 15 years to happen. And after year 3, you're like, where is it? I'm waiting for it. It's like, nah, mate, your story is actually, you have to wait 15 years. And that's the whole point, is that you have that in that time, you've got to cultivate a stamina. So, pursue what's meaningful, and then make sure that you have the stamina to take it to your last fucking heartbeat. That's the main thing.
100%. See, finishing this all inspired, and I very much hope that everyone listening is as well. I'll let you get off. I'll do the bit of housekeeping and wrap this little podcast up. Thank you for your time as always, brother. I'll include links to everything below, and we'll catch up in the next couple of weeks anyway, I'm sure. And I'm excited to come to Fife again.
Nice one, Simpa. I'm looking forward to seeing you, man, and thanks for your time.
You too, brother. All right, take it easy.
See you, love.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go, folks. That was Conor Macleod from CannamanTV. Hope you enjoyed that. I always feel inspired. I always feel like I want to go do something after I speak with Conor. He has such an eloquence in the way that he speaks, in the way that he crafts his narrative, and wrapped in with a Scottish accent as well. It just makes it so easy to listen to. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you feel inspired by it. I'll include, like I said, all the links below to the Cannaman animated series. I'll pester him next time I speak to him about getting the Cannaman movie available as well. I understand entirely and can empathise that it's difficult to find sort of an ethical and kind of equitable distribution sort of platform, given sort of the nature of it. It's not even, it's controversial. It's cannabis. It's just the censorship and the bigotry towards our oldest, or one of our oldest companion species. So it is just an absurdity, really. We're getting back on at the back end of the year. I'll be going up for the premiere as well. When that happens, hopefully, he kind of likes his numbers and his synchronicity, so I imagine he's probably going to get it for the same day in October if he can. We'll do a field report and an episode after the fact when that's happened. All right, I'm not going to keep any longer because it's late evening, and I'm going to go get off and enjoy what's left of the day. If you enjoyed this, please give us a like, a thumbs up, a heart, whatever it is you do on whatever platform it is you do. Show your appreciation. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. If you really enjoyed this, check it out on patreon.com/Simpa Life, where for less than a cup of coffee a week you can help me keep the lights on this little project of mine. Check out theSimpaLife.com for exclusive articles, back catalogue of my Weed World articles as well, or most of them. I do need to catch up with them, and I will be getting there in the coming weeks, I do promise. Check us out on all social media at Simpa Life, and be beautiful to each other, be kind, be nice, be patient, and spring is on the way, folks. Spring is on the way. All right, we'll be back next week with somebody. Be awesome. All right, take it easy. Peace and love.